Huh?
Yeah.
Live from Bobby Nuss Stadium in Chalmette, Crescent City Sports is proud to bring you high school football. Tonight, the old St. Bernard Parish rivalry is renewed as the Archbishop Hannan Hawks meet the Chalmette Owls. Hello, everybody. Ken Berthelot alongside Wade Kaiser. And yeah, these two teams right now are from opposite sides of the lake, but the players for the last few years have just kept the rivalry part of this going. They all know each other. Some friends for a long time, families friends for a long time. Nothing has been lost in the play of each other.
Well, Kenny, you're from down this neck of the woods, right? So
Yes.
Everybody from down this neck of the woods knows each other. You know, after Hurricane Katrina, we don't need to rehash that history. Some people moved to the North Shore, and that included Archbishop Hannan High School, but many families still have their ties down here, right? Neighborhood ties, next-door neighbors. One went to Hannan, one went to Chalmette. These staffs all work together at Hannan at one time or another. So
Yes.
the blood still runs thick down here, and so does the rivalry.
Well, these two teams are in pretty good shape. Chalmette, the home team, 6-4 last year, 4-1 in district under Jason Tucker, made the playoffs for the last 3 years, but never got past West Monroe in the first round. And of course, in the district, it's always Chalmette Errett. They'd like to take Errett this year, and they've got a pretty good shot to do that, Wade, in the fact that they've got 28 seniors returning and a host of starters, a lot of experience.
Well, a host of starters, number one. You said the experience, number two. But they're also pretty darn athletic with those guys that they have returning. You know, they've got some guys on defense that can flat run. They have some skilled people on offense that we're going to see here tonight that can go get the football when it's thrown. They have a nice running game behind a stout offensive line. So Chalmette is primed to win that district championship, and they're going to have to get it past a real good John Errett football team.
Visiting Hannan Hawks have lost 4 key players, but they returned 14 starters, 7 on each side of the ball. And Coach Corey Bordelon feels this is the year with so many seniors that they can make a deep run. Last year they won the opening round over Kennedy Discovery, but lost to Kennedy in round 2.
Right, you know, they're coming off of that 4-8 season, 1-4 in district. They won in the first round, but like Corey Bordelon said when we talked to him this week, he's excited about what he has this year, and his strength is up front with his offensive and defensive lines. They have also a nice, stout running game with an outstanding running back named C.J. Brown, which we will talk about later this evening.
Now, you know the importance of captains because you were a coach for a long time. Hannan, the visiting team in white, as you look at it on your screen, they have 4 senior captains and 2 junior captains. The captains decide who walks to the center of the field. And this year, the 2 juniors went to Coach Corey Bordelon and said, this is still a rivalry for us. We want all 4 seniors to walk. And your 4 senior captains are out there. Chalmette also with 4 captains out there. And they just had the flip of the coin.
Hannan wins the toss. They defer until the second half, so Chalmette will start out with the ball here on a warm night. And I know you're going to set the weather here in a minute, but the bottom line is it's hot.
It is hot. You know, they had a little rain, and there were some showers this afternoon. It's keeping temperatures down a little bit in the high 80s to low 90s, but it's going to be hot. The good news is that they did have some overcast. They had some clouds up in the sky, and it's cooled things off just a little bit. You don't have that glaring sun beating down on the field all day as we've been having in this area. So it'll be pleasant conditions for this game. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Our national anthem played by the Chalmette Owls Marching Band. And again, we get set for the season opener 2023 for both of these teams, each in Jamboree action last week. But the real McCoy begins tonight. And both coaches who were on the staffs at Archbishop Hannan at one time, and both of these coaches were on our color analyst Wade Kaiser's staff at Jesuit at one time. They know each other. The kids know each other. So whenever Hannan and Chalmette get together, it's something very, very special. You know, for a long time, Hannan was down at the AA and AAA team, and Chalmette was playing in 5A, and the two didn't get a chance to play during the John Serio years as the principal at Archbishop Hannan. And finally, they were put in the same district after a while, in the same area when they were playing in the same divisions, and that's when they started playing each other. And the teams had played 7 times at that time, going up into Katrina, and actually Hannan had the 4-3 lead in that series.
Right, and as well as, you know, it had to do a lot with the, you know, the parish population, and, you know, there were some consolidations of schools down here. St. Bernard High School closed. Chalmette moved. You know, a lot of things, a lot of jockeying around happened, and now they're back. They're solid schools, ready to roll. And the biggest thing is this rivalry is still intact.
So Chalmette to have it first, and it's a short kick grabbed at the 25 and returned past the 30 by Jaden Laperouse. So Laperouse with a little over a 5-yard return, and Chalmette will have some good field position to get things started here as the 2023 high school season is underway. At the 33-yard line for Chalmette. 1st and 10, and we'll see Ethan Couvillon, the quarterback, a fine little quarterback. Comes in as a senior. He's got a lot of experience, was a starter last year. Had some impressive numbers last year, and he's going to toss it on 1st down. So there's a pass right off the bat, and that's caught by Rayon Russell.
Well, Ethan Couvillon, I heard you use the term little, 6'2", 212, buddy.
Well,
Believe it or not,
little,
talking with Jason Tucker prior to the game this week, he says they took Ethan Couvillon, who was an offensive guard, right, moved him to quarterback. Ethan Couvillon's favorite play is quarterback sneak. Right? He wants to run the football, right? But he's got a cannon for an arm, and he just showed the zip he had on the pass right there.
Last year, just under 1,000 yards passing at 959 yards, so he'll throw it, and this is a team that wants to throw it. The handoff to Axton Lopez, and Lopez over the right side pushes forward for the 1st down across the 43, and that'll be the initial 1st down of the game. Chalmette picks it up on this first drive of the day.
You're going to see a lot of different formations out of the Chalmette Owls. They're going to spread the ball out of gun, pistol. You're going to see them get under center with a little wing T look. They'll run a little power stuff like they did right there, and then they're going to throw the ball vertically down the field.
So 1st and 10 from the 43. Little misdirection in the back there. Looks good on the fake handoff. Then they give it to Axton Lopez again, and Lopez picks up good yardage over the right side across the 50 and down to about the 49-yard line.
Little misdirection. You can run all that misdirection, wing T offense stuff also from the gun, and that's what they did right there. A little fake reverse one-way, came back with the counter the opposite direction, pulling guards and getting kick-out blocks at the point of attack to create a lot of room.
We'll go empty backfield this time with 3 wideouts to the top and 2 to the bottom of the field. There's the toss right over, and it's complete for another 1st down inside the Hannan 40-yard line, pushing forward. The catch made by Jaden Laperouse.
Well, Jaden Laperouse has had his hands on the ball a couple times now. 5'10", 173-pound senior's got a nice set of hands. And, you know, getting back to Ethan Couvillon for a minute, you're talking about a little zip on the ball, and that's what Jason Tucker said. They were out playing around one day after practice, and he was an offensive guard. He picked up the ball and just threw that thing with a lot of zip, and they moved him to quarterback, and the rest is history.
So another first down for the Chalmette Owls, driving on the Hannan Hawks as they move to your left on the screen. A little comeback completion thrown to Rayon Russell. And Russell inside the 30-yard line is brought down, but not enough for the first down. He is down to the 29-yard line of the Hawks.
Nice look at the replay right here. It's everybody's offensive play now. They love these little tunnel screens, right? Get a kick-out block by either a receiver or offensive lineman, bring in a receiver underneath, back to the ball, create some sort of little vertical tunnel in there for him to get going, get him out in space, and see what he can do with his speedy feet.
Second down, a little bit more than one. Good fake. He's going to throw long for the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown. Jaden Laperouse. A 29-yard touchdown pass and catch. Ethan Cuvier to Laperouse, and the Chalmette Owls strike quick and early here against the Hannan Hawks.
Yeah, the workhorse right there was Laperouse, right? Look at the post route he runs at the bottom of the screen off the fake, play action pass, post laid out right there. Nobody in the center of the field. Free safety bites up on the run fake. He's left one-on-one with the corner with the advantage. Touchdown Owls.
And the extra point is good, so we will have a little timeout on the field here. 8:45 to play in the first quarter. Chalmette takes the opening kickoff and drives 63 yards for a touchdown and leads it 7-0. Gives me a chance to tell you and thank Lamarck for tonight's coverage here in the first quarter, especially on Crescent City Sports, is brought to you by the Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. And as Ronnie says, there must be a reason.
Well, that's how he says it. Right, he's a St. Bernard guy, right?
Hey, played here at Chalmette. 1963 was his senior year. And you know what? In that year, it was a year that they didn't go to the playoffs, but they brought Chalmette sort of up to speed to where they should be with a new program. And Ronnie Lamarck takes a lot of pride with that. He and Bobby Scaffadel and some names. And, hey, brother Dennis Lamarck was right behind him and played a pretty big role in it. We'll talk about the Lamarck's role in this Chalmette program and the success they all had a little bit later. Here's a little onside kick, bounces, and it's been touched. It's a loose ball. Whoever gets it, it's their football, and Chalmette says it's theirs. My goodness, and a flag thrown now. Look out.
Well, initial indications. Here's our call from our officials tonight. Initial indication is it is Chalmette's ball off the surprise onside. But we do have a penalty. They're discussing it.
So let's see. Did we see a face mask look when the official was talking? Not sure if he was just moving his hand.
At this stage of the game, just don't know, right? They're trying to figure it out.
Well, early in the season and early in this game to see a little razzle-dazzle. So if you think there's not just a little pride in winning this rivalry, how about an onside kick after you go down and go 67 yards?
Okay, we got a personal foul on Chalmette. Apparently something happened down there in the tussle for the ball, right? So Chalmette's going to retain possession of the football, but they're going to mark it back 15 yards from the spot of where the ball is placed. And there we go, and they'll start back at their 49-yard line, which is still good field position. And you talk about this razzle-dazzle right off the top of the bat. It's called momentum. Jason
Yes,
Tucker is trying to make a statement right away to his kids. He's trying to say, hey, guys, we've been practicing this thing since spring training, and we've been working on it all through camp. Let's run this thing. We believe in it. Let's do it.
So now you've got it at the 49-yard line. And again, a little switcheroo in the backfield. And the handoff gets the ball past the 50 and into Hannan territory.
That was DeAnthony route on that. The proper word for that little switcheroo there in wing T terms is called counter crisscross.
Yeah, it is.
All right, counter crisscross. Back in the old Delaware wing T playbook from back in the 50s.
And sometimes even further back than that. The only thing missing in this game is a few laterals back when the ball carrier gets hit. Remember when they used to do? Oh, you wouldn't. You're too young. And it's Lopez with the call on second down, and Lopez over the right side is inside the 45 and down to the 42-yard line. That's going to be just short of a first down by a yard, so it's going to be 3rd down and 1.
Well, we're seeing all different types of features out of this Chalmette offense. The spread, the power, we just saw the power play, and the counter stuff. And there's that quarterback sneak from Cuvie on his favorite play.
As you said, 6'2", 212. You know, when you lean forward, it's hard to stop and hold somebody without a gain there unless you stack up the center. So he gets it down to the 39-yard line of Hannan, and that is enough for the first down. 1st and 10 Owls, who have had the ball for all of this first quarter with 7 minutes and 15 seconds as the clock ticks down here in the first quarter. He took the ball, went 67 yards for the first touchdown. They're going to throw long again. He's got an man open on the right side, and it is caught. Did he stay in bounds? He did. And a nice catch on the far side by Jaden Williams. Nice catch and throw by Ethan Cuvie. There might have been a little mix-up defensively there because Williams was streaking down that sideline.
Nah, it's cover 2. What happened was the safety didn't do a good job getting it over the vertical. You saw the corner jump up on the flat route wide away, which is what he was supposed to be doing. He was squatting in a squat cover 2 look. The safety on that side of the field did not get off the hash mark and get over the top of the vertical by the number 1 receiver. That's a blow by the safety.
28-yard gain, 1st and 10 of the 11, straight ahead. And that's just a big push forward into the end zone. Touchdown, Axton Lopez with good, hard running right up the middle. And a big hole opened up by the offensive line of Hunter Brockhouse, Jeff Regan at center, and Xander Davis at right guard.
Look how physical the guys in the maroon are right there. They're knocking everything in white off the ball and back. Now, you got to remember, the surprise onside puts the defense right back on the field for Hannan. They haven't had a blow on defense. It's a hot night out there. That turf is hot. I was down there in pregame, walking around, and it was steamy, right? So those guys haven't had a blow now since they got on the field, and it's already halfway through the first quarter.
And the first time Chalmette had the ball, they went 67 yards in 7 plays, and now they go 51 yards in 5 plays. And they have quickly opened up a 13-0 lead over the Hannan Hawks, who, as Wade just explained, their offense hasn't been on the field yet. So Jaden Alfonso in to attempt the extra point. And it is kicked up and good. So with 6:56 to play in the first quarter, it's 14-0 Chalmette over Hannan. I want to remind you that next Friday on Crescent City Sports, Newman heads to reserve to take on Riverside Academy. It's the Greenies and Rebels next Friday night, always live and free. Here on Crescent City Sports, you will be doing that game with Mr. Lenny Van Gilder.
And that's going to be an exciting game down in reserve. And, it always is when those two guys, long-time rivalry, get together, right?
Can anybody remember a Newman team without Arch Manning or a Manning at quarterback?
Yeah, I coached against a few of them
yes,
back in the 90s, right? But I also did coach against one of the Mannings. So
that would have been...
I would have been
Eli.
Eli, correct.
Yes.
That was Eli.
If I'm guessing right.
It was his senior year.
So we'll try this again as the sun.
Oh, by the way, he was pretty good. He was pretty good.
Maybe I should read up about him.
There you go.
So Alfonso gets set to kick off, and will they try something tricky again? Well, you show that onside kick early, and that'll get coaches thinking about something extra to work on in practice during the week of the Chalmette game, huh?
Well, it's going to get your attention immediately. It's now on tape. Every coach will be working against it, but it's something if executed correct. It's not about knowing it's coming, it's about when is it going to come and making sure you execute the return off of it.
A good kick to the 16-yard line. And good coverage by Chalmette. allowing about a 5 or 6 yard return by Brody Smith. So your quarterback also on the return team here. And we'll see the Archbishop Hannan offense for the first time tonight. Brody Smith, a 5'10", 165-pound junior. This is his team. He played defensive back last year and played the entire year hurt. That's what most people don't know. He was trying to keep that from the coaches, both upper body and lower body. But he's such a great player that even as a backup quarterback last year, they wanted to get him on the field. This year, he moves behind center, and this is his team. So let's see what happens for the Hannan Hawks as they get started with 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the first quarter at their own 28-yard line. Nothing doing on first down as the Owls had that stacked up pretty well and just nowhere to go for C.J. Brown. Cortez Brown, last year's leading rusher for the Hannan Hawks.
Yeah, Ken, he's their workhorse. He's the guy that they're going to put the ball in the hands of. They're going to make him, be the workhorse, and teams are going to have to respect his speed and his power. All right, you're going to see a bunch of different formations from Hannan. Right there, you just saw an unbalanced formation to start the game with, and they run the inside zone back to the weak side. So trying to outmaneuver the defense, they're going to flop their guys around. They're going to go heavy formations, and they're going to go double tight formations.
Second down, 11. After the loss of one, they tried the center again. Nowhere to go as the Owls once again have it stacked up very well. And once again, they try C.J. Brown. You talked about him being the workhorse, even though he's had absolutely nowhere to go in this game. Last year, 75 rushes, 120 yards, 500 touchdowns, and averaged 9.5 yards a carry, Wade, last year.
Yeah, like I said, he is a workhorse. I was down on the field prior to the game. I stood right next to him. He's a good-looking kid, good-looking athlete. He's going to have a future for himself somewhere next year in a college uniform. And, he's a sharp-looking young man. And from what I understand, talking with Coach Bordelon, he's extremely bright and does a great job in the classroom.
Well, we've got a flag down on the field right where Hannan is taken. Is this the water break, mandatory 6-minute water break?
Yeah, 5:51, that's what I would imagine this is.
But there was, let's see if they picked it up, but there was a flag down, and the officials have talked to some coaches on both sides. We have gotten nothing yet. Let's see.
I don't think.
Yeah, in the midst of all of that, they may have just dropped a hanky and decided to pick it up, and I believe that's what happened.
And we got to remember, this is the first ball game of the season after the dry run of the Jamboree for your officials as well as both football teams. So far, it's been pretty clean all the way around. 5-man crew here tonight for the New Orleans Officials Association. You're not going to see many 6- or 7-man crews this year because there is a shortage of officials out there. That's something we'll talk about later.
Well, on third down and a long way to go, third and just a little bit more than 12, and way short for C.J. Brown again. So it looks like after 3 runs with the football and just one that got some positive yardage for the Hawks, they're going to have to punt this ball away.
Right, you saw great pursuit from that Chalmette defense. Boy, they're getting off blocks, running hard, and getting to where they got to be, right?
We haven't talked a lot about the defenders for either team, but we will soon.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things Jason Tucker and his defense, they pride themselves on. Jason Tucker, a defensive guru. I've always had really high opinions of his
big
defensive
rush on
mind.
Felix Forget, and he just gets it off in time. It'll be a very short kick. And it bounces at the Hannan 45 and takes a Chalmette bounce back to the 43-yard line. And Chalmette will have great field position at the Hannan 43.
Yeah, another good starting spot for the Owls, right? And that defense is back on the field for the Hawks. And, you can't go 3 and out. You can't go back-to-back defensive series after an onside kick and expect your guys to keep playing hard in this heat, right? And especially a lot of these guys, Kenny, we've talked about are going to be going both ways tonight for the Hannan Hawks.
Yeah. Well, let's see how it goes. The first down handoff and the right side run. The Anthony route, he finds a little room on the outside as he sweeps wide and has the first down inside the 30, and he's all the way down to the 25 and maybe inside the 25 down to the 24-yard line.
Good look at the jet sweep right here from the wing position. Quarterback reverses out, hands the ball off. Look how he gets the edge. Nothing but green turf out there. Missed tackle, and he gets his first down.
19 yards on the gain. Here's the first down play. Big, wide open space to run on the left side. And there goes Lopez again. And so far, Lopez has had lots of success running the football for the Chalmette Owls. They're taking it wide on this series, Wade.
Well, they run buck sweep. There's the kick out. There's the seal. He gets up inside. There's no corner support coming up. The corner got kicked out. Should I say no safety support coming from inside out? You got to have safety filling the alley right there, or that thing's going to be able to be successful all night long.
We've got an injured Hannan Hawk who is getting some help getting up, and he seems to be okay. That is offensive, or rather,
I think it's number 58. Jason Mybaum, is that who it was?
It's Jason Mybaum.
Jason Mybaum. We got to remember out there, and we're going to see it all night long. We're going to see guys that are offensively and guys that are defensively are going to be going both ways for the guys in white. You're not going to see the same guys all the time. Corey Bordelon prides himself on getting a lot of kids that are on the sidelines on the field. So you're going to see a lot of different jerseys out there for the Hannan Hawks side, and that's great for the kids because they're going to get a chance to play, right?
Yes. So the last two runs by Axton Lopez gained 19 and 20. And you're down to the 4-yard line. First and goal, Chalmette, tight formation. They'll keep it with Lopez. And he fights his way down close to the goal line. Didn't make it. He'll be between the 1-yard line and the goal line. Let's make it... let's use this one we haven't used in a long time. The nose of the football is close to the goal line. Didn't know football had a nose, did you?
The nose
know
of
all
the
the rules, but... Well, let's see if we go straight ahead. No. The guy who gained all the yardage, they give it to him, and he'll take it in for the touchdown. So Lopez runs it 4 times, and he will go in for the score. Touchdown on a 5-play, 43-yard drive that saw Axton Lopez gain all 43 yards.
Right. Well, he was the workhorse, and right there on the touchdown play, he was the guy that drugged the defender into the end zone.
And there's the extra point up and good. So with 4:09 to play, first quarter, 21-0. Chalmette with the lead that's been all Owls here in the first quarter. One thing we haven't had a chance to talk about this Hannan Hawks offense is their number 1 running back, Brennan Obey, is not in action. He's hurt. He won't play tonight. Good chance he will be back next week, but no word on that for sure. And again, you're looking at a team that, as a 4A team, you're not coming out here with the same number of roster players, and you've got a lot of guys who are going to have to go both ways. Chalmette's got 66 roster players, and Hannan has 47 roster players. You've got the difference between 5A and 4A.
Well, correct. And you mentioned Obey. He was a nice 1-2 punch with Brown last year. Right, he's a solid running back, and he's out tonight. And they've got a couple other guys out. While you're mentioning it, they've got an offensive lineman out named Gallahan. He's out, and so they have a few early season injury issues that they're going to have to come back from to make things really go right down in the second half of the season for them, right? And then you're dealing with also your numbers issue. You're going to have to play guys both ways, and until it cools off, maybe somewhere in December. Yeah. I say that tongue-in-cheek, right? I say that tongue-in-cheek because everybody knows the type of summer, right? The type of summer we've been going through here in South Louisiana. But, in reality, when it does start cooling off around week 4 and week 5, those guys that are playing 2 ways, start to breathe a little bit easier and things start clicking a little bit better for you with the way you're feeling. And any of you guys out there, and we all know that went both ways at one time, you know what it's like in South Louisiana early in the season.
Brutal. Brody Smith, your quarterback, along with Hayden Alonso, a running back, they are back deep. Smith to the bottom of your screen as Chalmette gets set to boot it. And Alfonso deep, taken at the 1 yard line by the quarterback. Brody Smith breaks some tackles and now some more. And he finally runs out of bounds past the 20. But a nifty bit of running by Brody Smith, the junior quarterback who does just about everything for this Archbishop Hannan Hawk team.
Oh, nifty feet, right? Tight roping down the sideline there. Pretty athletic. Look at the return right here. He gets a little crease, makes 1-2 miss. Watch this tightrope right there. Nicely done, Brody Smith.
Well, the teams are lined up at the 30-yard line waiting for the football, but the line of scrimmage is the 21, so everybody's got to bring them back to the 21-yard line. Both teams are sitting there at about the 30.
Right. Well, first game of the season, hey, first thing we got to do is find the ball.
That's kind of funny, I got to tell you. That's so. Let's see if Hannan can find get settled, and they won't on first down. The handoff is met in the backfield by Leo Gonzalez of Chalmette, and it's how do you do?
Well, Leo Gonzalez comes off the edge. Nobody blocks him, right? They're trying to run off tackle with a little power game right there. Leo Gonzalez comes right downhill from his safety position and makes a huge hit. Bang, right there. Nicely done. Nice form, wraps up, takes him to the ground.
Wow. Well, Nate Tardo checked out of the game. And right now, Hannan's just got to find something positive. They've had that nice return by Brody Smith from the 1 out to the 21. A nice 20-yard return on the kickoff. And we've got a flag.
I think might have a timeout here. Corey Bordelon's out there having a conversation with the side judge.
Corey Bordelon, the coach of the Archbishop Hannan Hawks. Jason Tucker, the coach of the Chalmette Owls. They all worked together at one time on the Hawks, on the Archbishop Hannan staff. Both of these coaches worked with Wade Kaiser.
And they all worked
Jesuit.
with me, right? Great
right.
guys. Look, Corey Bordelon, an offensive line guru. Jason Tucker, a defensive specialist. Great guys to work with.
There's the toss over the middle, just missed him on the other side of the intended receiver, Trip Osama.
Trying to hit Y release right down the seam, or Y seam, right? Tight end right down the seam, splitting the secondary, splitting the safeties. Ball was not thrown very well. Had a wide open receiver. That would have been big if he could have caught that thing and got going. He might have gone a long way, or would have gone a long way. But getting back to Corey and Jason, Corey Bordelon, Jason Tucker, two of the better football coaches that I've ever had a chance to work with in my 35-year career. They were great guys, great football coaches, brought a lot to the table, and I learned a lot from them also working with them.
Here's your 3rd and 12. Brody running, throws as he's hit, almost intercepted, and it is intercepted by Jahari Banks, who came in and just kept his eye on that hot potato, so to speak.
Ken, what do you call that? Tip drill.
Tip drill football.
Tip drill. There you go. That's why you do that drill. I mean, you hear every color analyst say this in every level of the game, right? Why do you work tip drill? That's why you work the tip drill. Right there. Keep your eyes on the ball, be able to pick the ball off. But the bottom line is Jahari Banks was hustling. That's what makes the tip drill work, is if you're hustling and you're hustling to the ball, he's coming downhill from his corner position. Great job, great hustle, Jahari Banks.
And great field position for Chalmette here in the first quarter with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play at the Hannan 29-yard line. The 24-yard line, pardon me. And Gouvion in trouble, and he was chased hard by Trip Arsama and just dumped that ball out of bounds. Good play by Gouvion.
Trip Arsama blitzes off of his corner position. Nobody touches him. Little bootleg pass there by Gouvion. Nobody to throw to. Getting pressured by Arsama. And now it's 2nd down.
Interesting talking with Jason Tucker. He said last year the Owls threw the ball about 8-9 times a game, and they wanted to throw 15 to 16 or more this year. They want to open it up because of the experience of the offensive line and Cuvier at quarterback. Tucker thinks he's got the best set of skill position players since he's been here. There's a toss left side caught by Rayon Russell. And Russell out of bounds right at the 20-yard line, maybe just inside of it.
Another way to run the tunnel screen. They just do it have a different formation with a different motion, but it's the same play that we've seen so far throughout this whole first quarter. Trying to get the ball out on the edge to your athletes. Let them do something out there in space.
Down to the 19-yard line. And they go straight ahead. Not much. Nothing fancy. Handoff was to Troy Sino. Now, you may hear the PA announcer say Sino as we just did, and all week we practiced this name at Sino only to find out on the field before the game that it's Sino.
There you go. Fullback trap right there. Saw the backside guard try to kick out the first lineman, pass the ball. Sino gets the ball on the trap, and he gets knocked down pretty quick. Brings on the field goal team for the Owls.
Al Chalmette will call a timeout with 1 minute 34 seconds to play in the first, leading 21-0.
There's a funny story about Sino. He talking to the coaches down before, going over pronunciations and things, because I can butcher some pronunciations, right?
We all can sometimes, yes.
So I'm asking him, I said, okay, it's Sino? He goes, everybody around here has been calling him Sino, for a number of years. He's a senior. And the other day he just walked up and said, Coach, it's Sino now.
You could have told us that your freshman or sophomore year.
Well, the bottom line is we want to pronounce things correctly.
Yes.
We want to make sure we do things right for the kids and the players, because it's important. Maybe not so much for the kid, but it's important for mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa out there listening tonight. So if you're listening tonight to the broadcast, which we hope you are,
yes,
we worked hard to make sure that we try to get the pronunciations of your young men correctly.
Absolutely. And please.
That doesn't mean I still won't butcher one.
And please, right, if somebody's pronouncing it wrong, have them tell the coaches or the PA announcers or somebody. Yeah, this is the way. Of course, everybody knows
is that like
the quarterback at Notre Dame at one time was Joe Thiesman.
Right. Is that like a public service announcement? I still may butcher a name, but we're trying hard.
Thiesman did not rhyme with Heisman, but Theismann did. And so the pronunciation changed. So that time out of the Wildcat, the keeper by Lopez, and they'll do that every once in a while. That's one of their plays they like to use. So Axton Lopez gets the first down. The Chalmette Owls decided not to kick the field goal and just keep the clock moving here in the first quarter. 1:15 to play and ticking. So first down, Owls at the 12-yard line. Ethan Cuvier behind center again. This time the fake to Lopez. He'll throw for the corner of the end zone, overthrows everybody, and the intended receiver fell down. That was Jaden Williams.
A little China concept or smash concept out there by the two receivers. You're going to have one guy sit low, one guy try to corner high. And there's the trip. You saw it on our nice replay there. Great job by our camera guys, and the ball sails out of bounds.
Think about this for a moment. Jason Tucker has been at Chalmette. This is now his 17th year, and he feels that his skill position players might be the best as a group that he's had since he's been here. That's a mouthful, Wade.
That is a mouthful, because he's had some really nice skill here in the past years.
Mm-hmm. And he's talking about the number altogether as a group. That's the handoff to D'Anthony Rout. Fumble. Who got it? And it is Chalmette. Well, Hannan says it's them, but it's Chalmette, I think.
It all depends on what the guy in the black-white stripe says.
I thought he said Chalmette. Maybe have to put the button.
Boy, they had a chance to make a play in the backfield and missed tackle.
And it is Hannan.
Hannan comes up with it, right. Trip Arsaman had a chance to make a play for a 5-yard loss, and he runs right through it, and there's a big turnover right there for Hannan. They get the nice turnover. That helps them out. Gets their defense off the field.
Yep. So in the final 45 seconds of this first quarter, the Hawks, let's see if they can get rolling. They've got an explosive offense. It just has been stymied here in game number 1. And they just have not been able to do anything against the Chalmette team that we know and knew was absolutely loaded on both sides of the football. But, hey, don't count this Hannan Hawk offense out. They have a strong offensive line. 5 seniors start on the offensive line, except one is injured, not playing tonight. That's Will Galion at the left guard, or left tackle spot, rather. Left guard spot, replaced by Ryan Munier. But even Munier, as a senior, has experience, even though he wasn't a returning starter. So Corey Bourdelaw, coach of the Hawks, feels like with this offensive line and Brody Smith, an athlete with all the talent in the world at quarterback, this could be a real big year for Hannan to go deep in the playoffs. Even though their record wasn't what they wanted it to be last year at 4-8, winning the first game in the playoffs against Kenner Discovery was very special for this Hawk team. They lost the next week to Kennedy and was eliminated in round 2, but it sort of set things in motion with these Hawk players that said, this is the year. 2023 could be the year we go deep in the playoffs.
Well, they got to get something going here. They got to give their defense a rest. They got to move the chains a little bit. And
Smith with a quick throw, and again, just off the mark. He's got the guy, and he just cannot connect. He was trying for Hayden Alonso.
Trying to hit the slot in a slant route. Hayden Alonso wide open. I think the ball actually touched his fingertips. Hayden's got to come up with that, right? And, they're using maximum protection to try to pick up those blitzes from the guys in the maroon jerseys, and ball coming in there hot from Brody Smith.
Yeah, and just sometimes when you get off to this kind of a start, it stymies you a little bit. Here's 2nd down and 10. They're going to go long down the left side. Overthrow, had man coverage on the intended receiver, who I believe was Alonso again. But you had to get that ball up and out to where over that left shoulder on the sideline where either Alonso was going to get it or no one else could, Wade. So the throw was there, but it's just a little long.
Well, they're protecting with 8, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a huge respect for the edge rushers and, the blitzing from Chalmette, right? So they're using max protection with 2 tight ends right now and only throwing a 2-man route.
So 3rd down and 10 and flag down, and that's going to cost them.
Okay, that's not good, and Corey Bourdelaw will address that, I'm sure, tomorrow in film. A person lineup that is separated from the rest of the unit, like a wide receiver, a slot, should be looking in at the football. There should be no reason he's listening to a snap count. He moves when the ball moves. That will be addressed tomorrow.
Well, Brody rolls out in the end zone. Will throw it long in an overthrow again, just over the head of Alonso one more time. So they targeted Hayden Alonso on every down in this series, but unfortunately didn't work, and that'll bring up 4th down with 29 seconds to play in what has been a long first quarter. Dominated by Chalmette, as you would imagine, leading.
Okay. Here we go. So here's your first Rule 10 change to the National Federation rule this year. Holding penalty by Hannan.
Wow.
And it cost them a safety. Why? Because by enforcing the penalty was thrown in the end zone. The holding took place in the end zone. Thus it becomes a safety. However, it's enforced now from the previous spot. That is the new change in Federation this year. And that's something that we will see moving forward throughout the rest of the season and the playoffs, the way they enforce contact penalties behind the line of scrimmage. That contact penalty took place in the end zone, so it becomes a safety. 2 points added to the scoreboard for the Owls.
So there you go, 23-0. Chalmette with 29 seconds to play here in the first quarter. And it'll be a free kick. But rule change or not, even under the old rule, holding in the end zone still a safety. So that changed nothing there.
That changed nothing there. I just wanted to be able to take the opportunity for our fans out there to know when they see the enforcement.
This is important. Yes.
The enforcement now, it's going to be more like the NCAA. That contact foul behind the line of scrimmage is going to be marked off and executed from the previous spot. Keyword here, contact foul. Holding, something of that nature.
So they punt it away, even though two Chalmette players collide. There's still a little bit of room inside the 40-yard line and down to the Hannan 39. So good return by Chalmette.
Good starting position again for the Owls.
Yep.
I can't. Correct me if I'm wrong. Every time they started a drive, it's been in really nice position all night long.
You know, the only drive they started that was in their territory was the opening kickoff, and that's it. Almost everything else has been. You're right. Well, yeah, has been on the Hannan side of the 50. So here on first down, a quick toss, and it is caught. And the running room, this could go all the way. And there it is. A big 39-yard touchdown run.
Right, well, there you go. Bootleg to number 11.
Jaden Laperouse.
Jaden Laperouse sneaks out of the backfield, runs across the formation. The bootleg, the pass is right on target, and there's nobody there. And he turns on the speed, and he runs right down the sideline. Problem there is there was nobody there. Everybody bit on the fake in the opposite direction. The cornerback side tries to come over and make the play, as you'll see on the repeat, and he just couldn't catch up to Laperouse.
Alfonso with the extra point. It's good. And it's 30-0 with 12 seconds to play in the first quarter. Chalmette leads over the Hannan Hawks. And, you know, you watch this Hannan Hawk team get ready for this season, and this was not the first quarter we expected to see. Now, we thought Chalmette might dominate a little bit and maybe take the lead in this game and control later on, but this Hawk team has just never been able to get off the bus in this game at all to get things started in any way, shape, or form.
Well, Jason Tucker knew coming into this he was going to make a statement right off the bat, and I think the statement was the onside kick, right? Was put the gas pedal down and do not let off, and he has not let off the gas pedal here in the first quarter. His statement is trying to be driven home not only, obviously, to his opponent, but the statement to his team. And that's the main statement. He's trying to make sure, he's trying to tell his kids that there's a certain way we want to play. We've worked hard. We're ready to play. They've played pretty much clean football all night here in the first quarter, and we're going to put the pedal to the metal, and we're not going to let off of it.
Hadn't been a lot of penalties, but the one that hurt the most was the holding in the end zone by Hannan, which gave up the safety, and the free kick, a punt that didn't go for, and
right, it's been clean.
Chalmette started the game at started that drive at the 39-yard line and ended up a one-play 39-yard drive. So 30-0. Chalmette with the lead. Still 12 seconds to play in the first quarter. You know what's funny is Jason Tucker and
I have no idea what's going on right here. Must have had some sort of penalty that we did not see the flag. They're backing it up 5 yards.
Yeah, I think the PA announcer just said illegal.
Right.
Procedure?
I didn't see it. I didn't see a flag, and I did not see any type of indication from the white hat.
Well, they'll kick it off from the 5 yards back, 35. Hannan can get some good field position with this short return. And they will have it, at the 37-yard line.
Kenny, my only deduction is they went out with 12 people on the field.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's my only deduction. They went out with 12 people on the field. They had to get somebody off the field, and that is an illegal procedure penalty on a dead ball right there, and they marked it off 5 yards deeper. We just did not see the foul. That could possibly be the only explanation.
First and 10 at the 37-yard line.
Hannan starting in decent field position here. They need to get something going desperately.
63 yards away from pay dirt. Let's see if they finally can get something going. And they try the middle of that line. They're putting a lot of pressure on, and it'll take a lot of responsibility on that offensive line, being 5 seniors across the front. But right now they can't move that Chalmette defense that is as solid as can be, and they just run into a brick wall every time they try to hit it, as they did just now. So that's a loss of 2 or 3.
Well, those 4 guys up front for Chalmette, like you said, a brick wall. Those guys are just not budging in there. They're not getting any type of movement at all. They're having a hard time running in between the tackles. They're going to have to come up with another way to move the football, and I think that one of those ways, Ken, is they need to start mixing in their play-action passing somehow to be able to loosen up that secondary a little bit, because they keep creeping closer and closer and closer down to the run fit point, and they just can't play versus 11 of guys in maroon.
I want to thank Lamarck Ford for sponsoring the first quarter. Rhino Shield will sponsor the second. Tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Rhino Shield Mid-South. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Rhino Shield resists chipping, cracking, flaking, or peeling, and is backed up by a 25-year warranty. Get your free estimate. Visit rhinoshieldmidsouth.com or call 833-233-7181. A lot of 3s and 1s in there. I'll give it to you again. 833-233-7181. Just visit Rhino Shield Mid-South, all one word, Rhino Shield, R-H-I-N-O, rhinoshieldmidsouth.com.
Finally getting into the second quarter. That was a long first quarter for some reason. I couldn't figure that one out, but now we're going to...
Well, that's because there's so much scoring. A 45-minute first quarter from 7 o'clock or 7:03, probably about a 42-minute first quarter on first down. We have a roll to the left side and a toss and an incomplete pass.
3rd and 11.
He had Preston Richardson open on the out route. I love the action. There's your play action that I was just talking about off a bootleg style, right? Richardson is wide open on the 7-step out, and he just overthrows him. He's not on target. He's not consistent. He's missing receivers, and that's something he's going to have to clean up. We're talking about Brody Smith, the quarterback of the Hannan Hawks. Love the play call. Love the play call on first down. That's what they're going to have to do to move the football.
3rd down and 11 at the Hawks' 36-yard line. So let's see if they can make something happen right here. Smith setting everybody in position. They're trying for that quick pass, and he just can't hit it. He's just off the mark. That one intended for Archambault, but a flag on the play.
Trying to hit
this one over.
Trying to hit the slant pass to Archambault again. And look, Chalmette's giving them all man coverage. Here's our call.
Ineligible man downfield against the Hawks. Owls decline, brings up 4th and 11.
Ineligible man downfield that kind of snuck out of there. But getting back to the pass again, you're getting nothing but man coverage from Chalmette, right? So, yes. and that's giving you a 9-man, 8-man, 9-man box, depending on your formation offensively. They've got the receivers open. They're running nice routes. They're getting separation from the man coverage. Ball is not on target.
Money for the Hawks, number 6, Felix Forey.
Now Felix Forey comes in to punt for the Hawks. Big rush, good snap.
Jaden Williams.
Coming up and calling for a fair catch at the 45-yard line. And made by Chalmette was Jaden Williams. So the Owls will have, again, good field position at their own 45, but we have an Owl shaken up near the place of punt. On one knee.
Looks like on one knee, that's number 11, Jaden Laprousse. Name's been called a lot tonight. Let's hope he's okay.
Let's take what Coach Jason Tucker said. He's got great skill position players. You've seen him do some really good things tonight. If you're scouting this team and you're going to play them in the next 2 weeks, what are you thinking as an opposing coach looking at the Chalmette Owls, Wade Kaiser?
Well, I got to find a way to slow down their skill, right?
Yeah,
and
Tucker wasn't kidding. He's got a good skill group.
I've got to find a way to slow down their skill, and I've got to have to get my guys to make sure they're in the right place at the right time doing the right things, correct? And I just don't think the Hannan Hawks on defense have been doing that yet tonight. At least they have not shown it. So you got to be sound in everything you do, alignment-wise. You got to make sure you're playing great technique, and then you're going to have to tackle this great group of running backs that Jason Tucker has, and you're going to have to be able to cover that great group of defenders. And one of them is Jason Laprousse, who just came off the field a little tweaked.
Okuvion with the snap, wanted that inside screen again, and couldn't connect with Williams, Jaden Williams. Second down, 10.
Again, with the little bubble or tunnel screen, here comes the tunnel right there. Receiver coming back, trying to get underneath. This time they're running it with the offensive lineman getting out there to block the defenders. Just couldn't get a handle on the football.
So from their own 45-yard line, the Owls, second down, 10. And again, a team that wants to throw it more than 19, 20 times a game is tossing it all over the place. Overthrow of Jaden Williams deep, way down there near the 20-yard line of the Hawks.
Well, they hit that earlier tonight, right? Okay, so they're going to come back to it. They like to stretch the ball vertically. On the coverage was number 18 for the Hawks, Keaton Wheeler. He got in football terms, the bubble was broken. He didn't get out of his pedal. He didn't get out of his slide. The receiver was on top of him, stepping on his feet and blowing right past him. The receiver is taught, if I'm even, I'm leaving. He got even, and he left. The ball was just a little overthrown. Keaton Wheeler's got to get out of his technique, and he's got to get on that hip quicker.
Yeah, I like that. If I'm a receiver, you got me thinking, if I'm even, I'm leaving. I would look at it from a receiver standpoint. Hey, Kenny, covering me. If I'm even, I'm leaving.
Ken, when was the last time you were even leaving?
At my speed, it might have been a whole different saying.
Right, I'm even and I'm staying. Right, no, but it's a term receiver coaches use, especially when they've got built into the route that they can break the route off depending on if they can't get on top of the defender. Right. So if I cannot get on top of the defender, I'm going to break my route off right here, and the ball will be delivered. The quarterback and the receiver have to be in sync. Right there. He stepped on the toes of the defender. The defender never got out of his technique, right? And he got even, and then he left him. And like I said, the ball was just a tad bit overthrown.
Here's a question for you. You got a 30-0 lead. You're Chalmette. What do you want to do right now? You're not in any threat right now. The Hannan Hawk offense is just stymied. They haven't been able to get on track. What are you trying to do? Work on some plays?
Run your offense. Run your offense.
Just run the offense.
You need reps. You got to get better for week 2.
Reps in the game.
And right, and this thing is
Kuvion on the keeper.
And like you said, this thing's still early, right? I mean, it's a 30-point lead, and you got to get your team to understand that you play like it's 0-0. And that's come from both sides. Corey Bordelon talking to his guys over there. We're down by 30 points. You play like it's 0-0. I want to see effort. I want to see great attitude. I want to see guys flying around, both offensively and defensively. And if you're Jason Tucker, he's saying the same thing. We're up by 30. I better see maroon jerseys flying around.
Well, it's 4th and 5 after the 5-yard gain, and Chalmette's not going to punt it away. They're going to go for it here.
Trying to draw them off sides right here.
Yeah. And you know what? At midfield, and you've got a 30-point lead, you're early in the second quarter. Why not? Like you said, run the offense. Let's see if we can pick up 5 yards when we need it. Delay a game. And they'll move it back 5 yards and then send Jaden Alfonso, who does both the punting and the place kicking. Last week, Alfonso, in the Jamboree, punted just one time, got 40 yards out of it. So not bad.
Wow. 40-yard average, one-time punt. Sitting on the sideline drinking Gatorade. I mean, that's what a job, huh?
Nice little jamboree. Brody Smith is back. He is the quarterback returner. Last year played defense and was the backup quarterback. Low snap, picked up well, and the rush kept away, and it's going to bounce, and Chalmette will down it just inside the 25-yard line of the Hannan Hawks, who get the ball with 10 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the first half. And let's see if they can just find a way to get their offense on track
Just move the chains. Let's get a first down. Let's connect with a pass. Let's start off with something nice and easy. Let's get a connection between a quarterback and a receiver on some sort of pass, whether it's play action or quick drop, something of that nature. And let's just get something going. Let's play like it's 0-0. Let's get ourselves into a feel-good mode and just run our offense.
That's the key right there. So Smith, under center, will toss it back. Don't see him go under center much anymore, do you? But he does that time, and the toss back was to Cortez Brown, who goes wide, but there's just nowhere to go as he's thrown out of bounds for very little gain, if any.
You know, I would like people this week, and there's going to be a ton of football, college football on tonight, obviously high school football all the way through Monday, right? I would like people just to take a piece of paper and chart a football game on how many times for either team they're watching, the quarterback goes under center to take the snap. I'm just going to venture out there, and I'm going to say less than 10%. What do you think, Ken? You think?
You know what? 10%? That's an over-under. That'd be hard to bet.
Less than 10% of the snaps of a game?
That's the first time we've seen the quarterback tonight go under center, right? Unless we saw one down here at the goal line. But
we've seen Chalmette do it.
Chalmette did it a couple of times.
Right, and that was one of the first times I've seen Hannan do it.
Flag here thrown. They didn't get...
Was there a flag or is that a timeout? Looks like a timeout.
They might have called a timeout. I think the flag was thrown thinking it was going to be delay, and Hannan got the timeout in time. Yeah,
pick the flag up. There you go. But you know that's an interesting fact, and I'm obviously I'm old and I'm old school, but I believe in the shotgun. I think it is a great weapon of all offenses, depending on how you're going to use it today, right? But I still believe that somewhere in your offense, you've got to teach a quarterback how to take this quarterback center exchange, because there is a point somewhere in your season that it's going to be detrimental for you to take a snap from a quarterback.
I mean,
a snap from a center as a quarterback.
Yeah, and isn't it to the point now when a quarterback goes under center, you almost look at it, it's going to be a quarterback sneak. It's not always, but it happens a lot. This time Smith will keep, and he's got some positive yardage, and there's the biggest gain of the night on the ground running, I think, for the Hannan Hawks right there, as he gets close to the first down, but not yet there. And sometimes you've just got to get your best player, put that ball in his hands, and let him do something, Wade.
Right, get a group of guys in white jerseys out there. You run quarterback sneak down the boundary. You've already seen the athletic talent of Brody Smith, and he'll duck his shoulder. He's not afraid to get involved in contact. I don't know if that's him down right now or not, but he's a fine athlete. Speaking about Brody Smith, the quarterback from Hannan.
Well, they can't afford
to lose him, right?
To lose him. That's the problem. And I can't tell, even with the binoculars on it, if Brody Smith is down. And you hope that he's not. When you think of what he went through last year, that was him.
Yes, that was.
That was him, number 11.
That was number 11. It was. But he popped up real quick. He's going to have to come off for a play. He's got his helmet off. He's probably going over there to grab something to drink. They'll bring on their number 2 quarterback.
And
Braden Schultz, I believe.
Braden Schultz is the sophomore, and then the number 2 quarterback. Look, everybody on this Hannan team is talented. They can play both ways. And some of these guys will play just about... You know, you look at 48 minutes in a high school game. Some of these guys are going to play 40 to 44 minutes tonight. Some of them might play all 48. He's trying to get the first down, pushing forward on 3rd and short. Did he get it? Did he get it? Did he get it? No, he'll be short.
4th and 1.
He's got to be on the other side of that 35-yard line. The stick is just on the other side, the left side of that 35 as you watch it on our screen.
4th and 1, you're down by 30, you're in your own territory. I have a feeling Corey Bordelon's just going to go ahead. He needs to go for this.
Yeah, I think you go for it here. If you make it, it's a big lift, emotional lift for the team. Let's see what happens. And the backup still in there, and there's the toss to the right. They've got the first down, and that's exactly what the Hannan Hawks needed. They needed something positive to happen, something positive to go, and C.J. Brown makes it happen around the right side, and there's their I believe, the initial first down of this game on the ground, huh?
I believe so. Yeah, C.J. Brown runs the toss. He gets the first down. They've got to get the ball on him outside. I think that's the secret. They can't run the ball with C.J. Brown inside, even though he's a fine runner. They just can't get any movement up front on that Chalmette defensive line. So outside's a place to need to be, and then they've got to find a way to, complete a pass, right?
Yep.
So.
Oh, nothing like a little roach visiting us here in the press box, but he's gone.
Yeah, South Louisiana. Some people keep them as pets, right?
He's in here somewhere.
Hold on.
Somewhere.
And that's a St. Bernard roach. All right.
Get a uniform on him. That boy can play. First down for the Hawks. And they're going to stick with Cortez Brown, C.J. Brown around the right side. And as you said, outside might be the key. And they're going to go outside, and this crashes into the bench. And we're going to have a little shoving over there, but they'll break it up quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you're at this stage of the game, Hannan offense is just looking for something where they can pick up yards, right? So you've tried inside. Let's try outside. So now they're going to run the toss game. They're going to run some jet sweep. I'm sure we'll see that here in a moment. And try to find the soft spots on the flank. And they found a soft spot out there on their right hand, the Chalmette defensive left.
Look, they wanted to run. They wanted to run against the Chalmette defense up front because their line 260, 265, 305, 220, 220. That's a big offensive line. It's 5 seniors. There were 4 starters returning. They were all experienced. They were good. I mean, This is a good offensive line. They just haven't been able to get on track. And I think the early game they tried to go inside against the meat of that Chalmette defense, and Chalmette cut it off, Wade. And now they're realizing if we're going to make something happen, let's start using that outside game.
Yeah, and we've said it, and the Chalmette defensive line isn't chopped liver, right? Those guys are coached well. They're nice, they're nice athletes in there, led by Eric Anderson, Derek Bennett, Clarence Major, Xander Wolf, and some other guys that will be subbing in and out the rest of the evening for the Owls.
I'll tell you another reason I think that. Oh, I did not see that flag.
Must have been something over there in a little scrum on the sideline.
That was there you go. That came in that little pushing and shoving over on the Hannan sideline, and Chalmette got flagged for it, and that's going to move the football onto the Chalmette side of the 50. And again, for Hannan, great field position here at the Owls' 42-yard line. And whistles as we crank up this play.
We've got a false start on Hannan.
Yep.
That's a penalty of 5 yards. It'll be
well, you got a little something going and you get a flag. That's not the way the book's supposed to be played out, right?
Another thing in talking about the offensive line, which is Jack Nolan, usually Will Gallion, he's replaced tonight by Ryan Munier, and Cole Piat, the center, the right guard Nolan Byers, and Jason Mybaum, the right tackle. These guys are not only big, and they've got some weight, 220, 260 when Gallion's in there, 265, 305 for Byers, 220 for Mybaum. They're strong. All of these guys are power lifters, all finished second or third in the top 3 of the state finals in powerlifting. So these guys are pretty strong. Hawks calling a timeout here. I think Coach Corey Bordelon would like to get the right people in the right positions and keep this drive going. He wants to get some points on the board before they go into the halftime locker room. But when you look at Nolan Byers, I mean, here's your right guard. He holds the state record in powerlifting, 7:15.
You used to do that, didn't you?
We're talking about cookies on the plate or powerlifting?
Yeah,
I could have given 7:15 a run now if there were Oreos.
Look, and the other thing, and I'm sure Coach Bordelon talked about this to you with Nolan Byers. He's the epitome of what you call a student athlete, right?
Yes.
He has a tremendous GPA, very, very, very solid classroom student, recruited by Air Force, which tells you he can do the work in the classroom and does do the work. And Nichols State University, as well as Southeastern, are a couple of the other teams that are recruiting him.
At snap, and again, they're still operating with the backup quarterback, Brandon Schultz. because Brody Smith was injured on that run around the right side where he got hit pretty hard. And Brandon Schultz, the little sophomore.
Tell you who I'm really impressed with off the Chalmette defense. They play a lot of man coverage. It's number 1, Jahari Banks. We saw him earlier tonight get a pick, right? And a lot of man coverage locked up on their best receiver from Hannan, which we've seen, which is Trip Arsenault, running great routes out there. He has done a great job.
Well, they're using this backup quarterback, and they're putting him under center, and the run around the right side.
Nice tackle by number 2, Skylar Stevens.
Well, if they haven't brought it back in, Brody Smith,
Stevens, yeah.
Right, they might just be giving him a blow for the rest of the half. Let's just hope there's nothing seriously wrong with him, that we do see him in the second half. And also, believe it or not, a nice chance to get your number 2 guy some reps, quality reps with the first offense, to be able to get him ready in case something negative happens to the starting quarterback later down the line.
And that's what happened with starter Brody Smith last year. He got some reps at times, but he was so good they had to put him on the field, and he played defensive back all that year. Now that time gets away from Schultz. He'll pick up the ball, try to make something out of it, and is pulled down from behind back to the original line of scrimmage at the 42.
Well, you got to catch the football off the snap. The snap was clean. He just didn't catch the football, right? So problems started with that. Here's a call and a penalty.
After a bad snap, Braden carries around the right side. Horse collar penalty on Chalmette.
Little horse collar. You can see it on the film here. Right there. Wang. Right on the back of the jersey at the top. It's no longer just the top of the jersey. It's also across what you call the name panel too, right? So if you grab that and yank a person down, you're going to get the horse collar call. That's what happened. It's a personal foul. They're going to move the chains 15 yards from the spot of the foul. And Hannan is in business, their deepest drive tonight inside Chalmette territory.
All the way down to the 28-yard line. And let's see if they can finish this. It would be a big lift for this team if they can. And the handoff straight ahead. Big hole that time. We talked about the offensive line opening things up. And it just did. Thomas Tyner carries down to the 20-yard line. I'll mark it back at the 21.
Little trap play. See the backside guard right there. If I'm not mistaken, that was Will Gallian doing a nice job pulling and trapping the down defensive lineman to give a chance for Tyner to pop that up inside.
Still, Braden Schultz, the backup quarterback, directing this drive. Starter, Brody Smith, injured on an earlier play, went out, handoff again, the delay on the handoff, and that opened up a hole on the right side. And once again, that's Tyner taking it down inside the 20, and that should be enough for a first down, and it is. Move the chains again at the Chalmette 16-yard line.
Tyner coming in with a little pop with the offense, right? Running it hard inside, making a nice cut right at the line of scrimmage and finding a spot to fall forward and pick up some yardage.
You know, we look at this Chalmette team, and you're looking at what definitely could be a year that Jason Tucker feels like this could be the year we make that deep, deep run. Chalmette's never won a state championship. And he feels like if they can stay healthy, he's got the skill position and the big, beefy, experienced line. Again, you got an offensive line for Chalmette with 5 seniors across the front. All seniors on the offensive line when Chalmette's got the football. So he knows something very special can happen for these Owls. And you go back to one of the sponsors of this program, you think of Ronnie Lamarck, Dennis Lamarck, so many great names, the Bobby Scaffadels of the world, the Stephen Kettles who played football here. They've never been able to take it all the way. Maybe this year.
Wow. And you know, your history here in St. Bernard Parish far exceeds mine. Bobby Nuss didn't win a state championship?
No.
No kidding.
Did not win a state championship at Chalmette.
I just learned something. I always thought that Bobby Nuss, might have won one. The great Bobby Nuss, the stadium named after him here in Chalmette. You
got to remember, they had some awfully good teams, but at that time you didn't have as many schools, and the competition was so doggone good. I mean, every school in the city, whether it was Catholic, private, or public, was good and real good. Straight ahead for Hannan. It's it down.
Well,
that was Cortez.
You know, they were in the Catholic League for a long time. They left the Catholic League and then came back into it, in and out of it for a while, you know, and then, of course, they developed their own district now in the Jefferson Parish District. But, you know, they've played with some stiff competition, and there have been some great athletes play here at Chalmette. Great athletes.
Schultz, the backup, still in there. He'll hand off straight ahead. They're getting some good movement now. C.J. Brown again. C.J. down to the 10. And again, you're talking about a team here that it's been between Errett and Chalmette for the last 3 years. Both have gone to the playoffs, and the nemesis for the Chalmette Owls has been West Monroe. West Monroe's the team that's knocked them out of the playoffs for 3 years in a row.
I laugh because they've been a nemesis to a lot of people over the years, right?
All the way back to the Don Charles era. Remember him?
Yeah, well, he was a nemesis to us in the quarterfinals one year.
That time Brown caught, not going anywhere, and he's pulled down.
Don Showers
tackle made by Leo Gonzalez. Go ahead.
You mentioned Don Showers. What a great guy he was. What a great football coach. And I had a chance to coach against him a few times up at West Monroe, having to take that trip up there.
I'll tell you something about Showers that most people don't know, and he loved to bowl. He was a bowler. And a good one. I mean, we're talking about a guy that could roll between 220 and 280 consistently. Player down. It is one of the Owls, and it looks like
a cramp. 13. Can't get a number. That's our first cramp of the night.
I think it's Eric Anderson.
Right. Well, that's our first cramp of the night, which is interesting, right? We haven't seen any other cramps yet.
No, in this heat, they've been out there for a long time. I don't think they took a water break in the second quarter. Or did we?
Yeah, they did.
We miss it?
They did.
All right, that was one of the timeouts.
Right.
So that's Eric Anderson. He's the only junior on the starting defensive line. You've got Derek Bennett, Clarence Major, Xander Wolf, 192, 242, 221 respectively. They can move. They've got good weight. They're pretty quick. And you've got Eric Anderson, 6'4", 204.
And he's every bit of 6'4". I was down there on the field before the game, and I walk around and I size up the players. He's every bit 6'4", big kid.
Schultz at quarterback, messed up the snap. Ball's loose on the field. Who's got it? Chalmette says they do, and they do. The officials concur. So that, again, your inexperienced quarterback, your backup, the sophomore Brayton Schultz, doing such a great drive, a great job on that drive, getting it down to the 10-yard line. And then just a muff of the center snap.
Yeah, he just didn't get the exchange. He didn't secure the exchange. You saw it in the replay. The young guy just didn't come out from underneath center with the ball. It got popped real quick. Chalmette falls on the ball, and it ends the drive that was going so well for Hannan. Yeah, getting back to Don Showers, he loved the bowl, but I'll tell you what else he loved to do is he loved to hunt. Right, he was a huge hunter, and especially for ducks, right? And I've got some stories about that with him. He was something.
Well, on first down, Chalmette around the right side, and that's a nice run by the Owls. DeAnthony Rout. They've been using Axton Lopez a little bit more than Rout. Last year, Rout carried for 177 yards. He had 2 touchdowns on the year, and they knew that this year they were hoping to have a good combo with Rout, Lopez, and then they've got some others that can fill in. And they're going to keep it on the ground, going again to Lopez this time.
Carried by number 9, Axton Lopez, brought down by number 18, Keith Whalen.
Keith Whalen makes a play right there. Nice job. They're going to run the ball here. They're going to try to get in at halftime, and Hannan's going to need to regroup. They're going to have to come up with some answers. Hopefully their quarterback is okay. Chalmette needs to go in and make sure that they stay with the same intensity they've had here in the first half.
Lopez was limping just a little bit, so they give to DeAnthony Rout, and Rout across the 30 up to the 32-yard line. And that'll be just short by 1 yard of a first down at the 3-minute mark in the first half. Chalmette leading at 30-0. It's been all Owls as the Hawks just could not get their offense going in any direction. And then, worst off, Brody Smith, starting quarterback, was injured, and they're working behind Schultz right now, their backup quarterback, when the Hawks have the ball after the fumbled center snap.
Well, Rout and Lopez are a nice 1-2 combination. We've seen them handle the ball here so far in this little drive that they've got going. A little power play right there with the lead blocker, Rout blocking for Lopez as he rams it up inside.
Just wanted to move the chains, and they did.
Little combination, nice combination, 1-2 punch of these guys in the backfield for the Owls.
And a good handoff by Cuvion. And that goes to Lopez. Lopez was limping a little bit earlier, but he's fine. Showed no signs of an ankle problem at all on that run. And we're down to 2 minutes in this first half. Chalmette would like to get at least close enough for a field goal, give their field goal kicker a lot of work. They're going to throw it long. They've got a man down the right sideline, and it's pulled down by Jaden Williams. Nice toss by Ethan Cuvion at quarterback.
It's a repeat of the same thing we saw in the first quarter, right, on the long pass. The safety get across the top. Hannan in cover 2. You got to get your safety off the hash. He's got to get across the top of the vertical by number 1. The corner squatted and sat in cover 2. Safety's just not there, not fast enough to get off the hash and get across the top and make a play.
So at the 31-yard line of Hannan, first down. Chalmette with 1:42 remaining in the half. Wasn't sure if he wanted to give it to him, but he finally did hand it off to Rout.
Timing was off on the jet sweep, Ken.
Yep.
I mean, things weren't clean on the exchange right there. It looked like he didn't want to give him the ball. Then he gave him the ball. And do you want the ball? I don't know if I want the ball. And I'll take the ball.
Oh,
right?
Go ahead. You don't want it? Okay, I'll take
Correct.
it.
Correct. It just wasn't clean. It looked like a Seinfeld show, right? I mean,
yeah, you described it like a Seinfeld character. I like that. Second down, 10. And they'll go, a little bobble and pull in on the pass to the right side. And it's complete as they get it down to Lapperouse again.
Lapperouse are all right. He came off the field a couple series ago kind of banged up, and there he is limping again. All right, well, they've been working that combination all night against Hannan. High route, vertical by number 1, number 2 receiver running flat. That time, Cuvion goes to the flat route for a nice completion.
Third down, 3. And here's a little slant off the left side, and that is Rout again, and he has enough for the first down inside the 20-yard line of the Hannan Hawks as we have the clock stopped with the first down with 30 seconds to play. Chalmette ready to go quickly, and they will just spike the ball and stop it.
Great opportunity to work your fast offense right here, your hurry-up offense, your 2-minute offense, whatever you want to call it. Great opportunity to work these things, and you got to work them even though you're up 30, right?
Yeah, you do.
I mean, it's not about, okay, you're up 30. It's about being up to 30, but it's about getting yourself ready also not only to finish the second half, but to finish and go into week 2. You're also giving a lot of film to your opponents, Kenny. You know that? Everything that's going to be on film is going to be documented by upcoming teams, and you're going to make them work against it.
And you want to do it in like this. The more they got to work on at practice, the more difficult it is to stop you. Cuvion with the roll to the left side. He will throw near the end zone. Caught, and it dropped as soon as he was hit. And that time, a good catch by Williams, and he was hit hard. And the ball plopped out of his hand, and I don't think they're going to call that an incomplete pass.
Look at the pop right here. Flood route over there. The number 2 receiver out, the deep out right there. Great pop. Ball popped out. I don't think they gave him the pass, did they?
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They called it incomplete. That's why I was waiting to see what the officials would call because it looked like for a moment he had it, and then when he was hit, the ball popped out and went out of bounds. Third down. Low snap kind of dropped and picked up, and all of a sudden, poof, here comes the rush, and he goes down at the close to the 29-yard line. Kubion, the quarterback, doing everything he could. Clock running down, 5 seconds. Chalmette with no timeouts. Scoreboard says 1. We've got him with none. They're trying to get on quickly, and it is kicked. It is up. It is no good.
Kick is no good.
All in all, great execution, though. Hurry up field goal. No timeouts left. Getting up, getting your team ready to go. Get them onto the field and get the kick off. Nice execution. Just didn't have the leg.
And that'll end the half. But even if they had the timeout, if the scoreboard was correct, they didn't want to call it because they wanted to work on that execution play and trying to get it. And you're right. The only thing wrong was that he went, I think it was a little short to the left, but well executed. So here we are at halftime. And the score is Chalmette 30 and Hannan nothing. We do want to thank Rhino Shield for sponsoring the second quarter of play. I want to tell a couple of things here. I want to thank Lamarck. Tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Ford Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. There must be a reason. And tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is also brought to you by Rhino Shield Mid-South. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Rhino Shield resists chipping, cracking, flaking, or peeling and is backed up by a 25-year warranty. 25-year warranty. Get your free estimate. Visit Rhino Shield Mid-South. That's one word with Rhino spelled R-H-I-N-O. RhinoShieldMidSouth.com or call 833-233-7181. And don't forget, next Friday on Crescent City Sports, Newman heads to reserve to take on Riverside Academy. It's the Greenies and Rebels next Friday night. Always live and free here on Crescent City Sports. Lenny Van Gilder will be back working with Wade. Said he really misses just trying to antagonize you a little bit on certain parts of the broadcast, but he'll be back to do that next week. And I said, gee, how do you do that? I've never seen the guy get rattled, and I can't get him up at all. So
yeah, well, you know. It comes with age and loss of hair, right? That's the whole deal.
So your thoughts on the first half here, Wade?
Well, you know, it's a lopsided score, right? I mean, Hannan's searching for anything they can do. They want any type of stop. They'll take any type of first down, no matter how you get it, right? You know, so they're just searching for some answers. On the other side of the field, you got Jason Tucker. I think right now they look like they're in 3 or 4 game form, right? They execute an onside kick. They're completing passes. They're for the most part, penalty free. They executed a hurry-up field goal right there. Their special teams look sharp. You know, they right now are in 4-week, maybe mid-season form. These guys are rolling, right? So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they come out the second half, because you got to keep your guys focused, right? You don't want to have a nice first half and then come out and be extremely sloppy the second half, and you know, everything that you've done, everything that you've worked on, everything you're trying to execute here tonight will go by the wayside. Hannan's just looking for anything right now that they can grasp a hold of and get some sort of positive aspect going.
Yeah, if you're Corey Bordelon, the coach of the Hannan Hawks, you're at halftime, what are you going to tell the team?
Got to go to work, right? There's not much. You can't flip a table.
In other words, you don't worry about 30.
No. You're not walking into a locker room and flipping a table,
right?
Which I've done, but. You know, there's
just because Bobby and I threw a chair, everybody wanted to do something, right?
But there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place, and this is not the time. This is not the place. This is week 1. Your team is hurting. You've got a bunch of guys that are out. We went over those guys, some starters that are out. You're playing your guys both ways on a hot night, right? And you just kind of got your quarterback banged up in the middle of the second quarter. what do? You walk over there and you look them in the eye and you tell them, here's what I expect. The expectation is that we play Hannan Hawk football, that we play every down as hard as we can. We play as if that clock is 0-0. We're going to go out, go back to our game plan, and we're going to execute, and we're going to get ourselves better in the second half. Why? Because we got 9 games after this and playoffs, and we just have to get ourselves better tonight. We're going to use this time to get ourselves better.
Wow, I'll tell you what, that's a pep talk right there. Hey, Chip
you ready to play, huh?
Hey, Chip Merritt, and you don't. Hey, we ready to put our helmets on and go out and play right now. Let's go. Let's go out there. Chip. Hey, I'm telling you right now, man. Matt Merritt, Matt Beal, shooting up on top on camera. Matt Merritt right here. I said, Chip, that's his brother, Matt Merritt. And myself, we're putting our helmets on. You got us ready to play, Coach. We're ready. Listen, we've got some stories to tell you at halftime here about some of the great players, Lamarck, and Zorn, and some of the great players from Chalmette, and even Hannan history. Yeah, and we'll get into that. But first, we've got a feature on, and let's see if that's ready to roll. So we're ready to roll. Ken Trahan talked with Ronnie Lamarck about a lot of things, but about Chalmette football, because Ronnie Lamarck was one of the big names that got this program started way back in the early 1960s. Ken, take it away.
Thanks, Ken. From one Chalmation to another. Ken Trahan with Ronnie Lamarck, a pride of St. Bernard Parish, of course, now the pride of the metropolitan area, and we're proud of him because of what he's accomplished over many, many years. Ronnie, great to be with you.
Yeah, moving on up. Great to be part of the parish, being an Arabian from St. Bernard, and then, of course, in the metro city of New Orleans, a very distinct area, destination city. Great to be here for the kids, the youth. The youths of the future getting on the football field instead of out there in the streets. Get out there on the baseball field or some type of activity, and that's what saved me. So kept me active in sports and away from trouble. That's what it's all about, man.
Chalmette High School, your memories in brief.
Right, well, yeah, 1964 I graduated. That was a long time ago. And I loved going to school. Going to school was a great feeling of knowing of camaraderie of people, of learning and adapting and seeing your future. It was just a very, very wholesome environment. And that was the most important. I couldn't wait to go to school because it was just a great feeling. And that's basically the leadership of St. Bernard Parish, which they had at the time a great education. Those teachers could speak fluid languages and just lots and lots of great things in a public school. I was so blessed.
Amazing facilities now, the Phoenix, if you will, which rose from the ashes after Hurricane Katrina.
It's amazing what I'm looking at. It is just creme de la creme. Is that the right words? Louis Rousseau would say, don't say that. It's crumb de la crumb. Guess what? I say what I say. Anyway, I'm telling you, Ken, what you guys do for this community with sports and showcasing families, and the whole thing is, I believe in God Almighty first, and then family, and then your job, whatever, and everything else. But this facility is amazing. It was amazing back then. But when Bobby Nuss was my coach, and now it's called Bobby Nuss Stadium, and Coach Tommy Warner, who was also a state representative in the state of Louisiana, also chancellor at Nunez Community College. What a great guy. Just what a great group of people that Mr. Davies, going way back, and recruited that we would have for us for the future. And I'm just very blessed that I was part of that. And, graduating 64, then Hurricane Betsy hit in 65. We had to rebuild again. And then we had to rebuild in Katrina. That was 2005, 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. And what we went through, or what a lot of people have scars all over their body. You got to move on. But thank God, God for the Holy Bible, and everything's going to be okay.
Interestingly enough, tonight, Chalmette playing Archbishop Hannan, which, of course, was in St. Bernard Parish here, and Hurricane Katrina wiped that out. Still some remnants there. Of course, they relocated to the North Shore, but a true St. Bernard heritage here with Archbishop Hannan playing here tonight, too.
Right. Being from Chalmette and having the type of athletes, you would think that they could compete with anybody at any given time, because we were at the time when we were 6-3-1 in my senior year, my junior year. Holy Cross, I think, was going for the state championship, and I think about 20 of those guys lived in the parish. Mm-hmm. If we were all together, if was a skiff, we'd go in a canoe. We'd all been together, but we didn't. We competed against each other. So a lot of talent, just a lot of talent in sports is the key, and we're on the cusp right now with SEC and the Saints and what they doing and who they cutting and they keeping a rookie kicker and they let Sean Payton get over. Oh man, what's going on? And that number 88, the tight end, he left, and we got Jimmy, we got Jimmy Graham and this kid 88, and of course Sean Payton got him. What he's on the payroll still with the Saints? Wow.
It's a heck of a deal. Finally, you mentioned hurricanes, and of course, with not only the community but your dealerships. And Hurricane Katrina, of course, Hurricane Ida 2 years ago, and to withstand that, you maintained your entire employee list during both of those disasters, and then you did the same thing during the pandemic. That was ultimate act of loyalty, but also I think it reflects the kind of business that you run and why your employees love working here.
Ken, thank you. You go through hardships, trials, tribulations. It happens. Ida blew all 30 of my service doors down. The next day, we were operational. We gained people during a pandemic. What? Yes, we gained people. We made sure that we took care of our team. It was so important. And we went through, like on March 15th, 2020, we opened the LAC, the Lamarck Automotive Complex, on January 4th, 2020. And on March 15th, 2020, I didn't know if I was even going to be in business anymore with the pandemic, going to shut you down. What's going on? What's going to happen? Everybody was running scared or whatever. Thank God for the holy word of God, and you just relax. It's going to be okay. And it did. It was okay, and it is okay.
Continues to be that way. It's a legacy here at Lamarck Automotive Complex, because it is a complex. It's amazing. Everything in one. If you need your car repaired, that will be happening here. If you've been in an accident, you not only have Quick Lane, but you got the repair shop too. If you want a Lincoln, got great Lincolns here as well, which we own one of. If you like Fords, got one of those too, and enjoy it thoroughly. So it's all one-stop shopping. It's an incredible complex, and it's a testament to a locally owned business and a family that loves this community, and the community is loving it back. Thank you, Ronnie. We love you, man.
I love you, and thank you for all you guys do for the people that are shut-ins, that can't make it out, and they watching on television or radio or streaming. It's just a wonderful thing of where we're moving today, of taking care of these people that support our community. But we're always at the Lamarck Automotive Complex. They have a lifestyle and budget in mind. Au revoir. Arrivederci.
Thank you, Ronnie. One Arabian Dalmatian to another. We'll send it back to Ken. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ken Trahan. Wow, with Ronnie Lamarck. Ronnie doesn't mind telling you a little bit about Chalmette in the glory days, baby, the glory days. Ronnie tells a story, and if you're a Chalmette fan, you'll remember this, but back in the days when in his senior year, 63, it was really down to Chalmette and West Jeff. And West Jeff was a power, and they got in that game on the West Bank, and Chalmette keyed on Bobby Scaffadel. They just wouldn't let Scaffadel do anything with the football, and Ronnie's, Bobby Nuss, coach, Nuss, give me the ball, let me run the ball. And he didn't put the ball in Ronnie Lamarck's hands enough, and they just keyed on Bobby Scaffadel, and Chalmette did not win that football game. Frustrated the living daylights out of Ronnie Lamarck. But Ronnie was quick, man. Ronnie, you talk about a guy when he's playing defense that'll get over the center and jump the gun. He'll be in the backfield behind the opposing center more than the quarterback sometimes.
Well, he's kind of brought that same idea into a very successful dealership,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
He gets in there and he makes stuff happen, right? Well, you know, that's
he'll
a great.
be on your side of the car before you can get on your side of the car.
There you go. And I think but really the true thing here is I think Ronnie Lamarck will tell you that this game of football, right, is so related to the game of life and to the game of business, and how you're dealing with people, how you are handling different groups within an organization, and how do you organize things, how do you set goals, how do you work hard to carry out and try to achieve those goals. All of those things I think Ronnie Lamarck will tell you that he learned playing football right here at Chalmette High School.
Look, there were some great athletes here. For the toughest I ever saw in my era was the two Lamarck brothers, Ronnie and Dennis. And, of course, they had Tommy and Timmy. Tommy passed away recently, and we miss him dearly. Timmy, probably a better baseball player than he was football, played two sports. But those two guys, Johnny Zorns, the Neal brothers, David Neal, Ronnie Neal, and Henry Shepard, those four athletes, and six athletes if you want to say it, but four different families, some of the toughest guys you ever want to see. I think they were four of the best names to ever come out of Chalmette. Look, I'm leaving a lot out. I'm just saying four of the best. You can go back again and talk about the Siebenkettles, the Scaffadels, and so many other great players. But we're talking about some that were good, and let me tell you, man, they don't get out there. They're coming after you no matter what. Those guys they're gonna come after you hard on the field, and if you try to get to them, they're gonna come after you. Dennis Lamarck, I was talking about this game with him today, and he said one time they were playing Forche here at Chalmette, right here on this field, and he said they went out with the captains for the coin toss his senior year in 1966 or 7, and they're playing Forche, and somebody mouthed off to him, and he says, look, I'm embarrassed about it now, but I lost it. I just jumped him, and we got a free for all going right there at the coin toss, and the referee pulls me off, and the guy says, I'll toss you out of the game. He says, you can't. The game hadn't started yet. He said the referee started laughing. If the referee wouldn't have started laughing, he might have got tossed right there. So
there you go. Well, it was a different day and time. It'd have been tossed today, you know.
Hey, a lot of rumbling around. You know, again, helmets were on. So, but it's just one of those funny and I tell that story. It's not the thing to do, but that's how competitive those athletes were at that time, and you've had so many great ones. It's hard to believe that the Owls have not won a state championship when you think about that. Look, you were at Jesuit, you know, then they've got a list of state champions. Holy Cross has only won two, 1945 under Lou Bronson and 1963 under John Kalbacher. And you would think that through all those years, that even I thought Henry Rando would get one. He was close, but it couldn't get it. And it's not easy, as you know, as a former coach, to win state championships. But my goodness, they did. Hey, let's change the subject a little bit and take a look at some scores around the state and around the city.
Well, I'll start off with some stores right here, and then the best place to go is CrescentCitySports.com, and go get every score around the state tonight, as well as a lot of games took place last night around the state of Louisiana, and there'll be a few tomorrow night, Saturday night, especially in the city of New Orleans.
Let me throw this one out at you. How about your old school Jesuit 10-0 over Slidell at the half?
Yeah, Jesuit up 10-0 of Slidell. Archbishop Rummel behind at Ouachita Parish 14-0 in the first quarter. Karen Crow up 32-7 over Alexandria. North DeSoto up on Airline 28-14. Edna Carr 27. Lord Beaconville Landry 0 at halftime. Big one out in St. John Parish tonight. It's a huge rivalry. St. James up on East St. John 20-7 at halftime.
Wowza.
There you go.
Hey, how about this? The school that Chalmette is going to have to face and beat in 8-5A, John Ehret, trailing at Covington, trailing the Lions 21-6 at the half.
Yeah,
John Curtis rolling over Central Lafourche 41-0. By the way, if you haven't been keeping up with it, J.T. Curtis this season is going to become the winningest high school coach in America, in history. He's going to pass John McKissick, who had 621 victories. Coach McKissick out of South Carolina, I believe. Coached until he was about 80 years old, 81. Huh? Wait,
Right.
he didn't want to give it up. He loved it. And you know what? Why? If you love what you do, you don't have to retire because you're really not going to work every day. You're doing what you love.
There you go. Halftime, De La Salle 13, Central Baton Rouge 13. A good one going on there. Natchitoches Central 16, Woodlawn Shreveport 8 in the third quarter. As we said, Jesuit Slidell. Jesuit 10-0 at halftime over Slidell and Slidell. Here we go. Your alma mater, Holy Cross Tigers, 31-0 over Holy Cross of San Antonio.
And
they
I'll
might
tell
be
you,
the Tigers too.
Hey,
if I'm not mistaken. It is at halftime playing out in Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're playing here. They're playing
here.
That's a Tad Gormley tonight. But you know
There you
what? The impressive thing about that is Holy Cross New Orleans beat them in San Antonio last year. And Holy Cross San Antonio went 10-2 last year and made a pretty good run in the playoffs, the private school playoffs in Texas. This year, they think they've got the team to go all the way. So I don't know whether they're just off or Holy Cross is showing flexing a muscle that maybe no one knew the Tigers of New Orleans had.
There you go. Halftime, a team that we'll be covering next week with Crescent City Sports. Isidore Newman up 20-14 at halftime on Hanville out of 7-5A in the River Parishes.
What about this one? Archbishop Rummel went to Ouachita, way up near Monroe, and trails at halftime to Ouachita Parish, 14-0.
That's a long way to go, and it's a hard opponent, right? Warren Easton, who has run into a little trouble recently in the news, that if you've been following, they will not be eligible this year for any playoffs. They were up 14-7 on Ruston, a good football team out of North Louisiana. Ponchatoula 7, Walker 7.
Yeah, let me say something about Warren Easton, too. Man, Jerry Phillips, an old Tulane graduate, and I've watched him play as a player. He's brought that same intensity to coaching. When he went to Warren Easton, they were down, and he said, I'm going to build this program up. I know what it was. I know the history here, and he has, and I feel so bad for him that I think it was an ineligible player, but I'm not sure. But whatever it was, I feel bad that they're not going to be eligible for the playoffs this year. But you know what? He'll keep that team going, and they'll think 2 years down the road.
Right, no doubt about it. Thibodeau 0, Lutcher 0 on a barn burner. Don't have a time on that. I believe it's already kicked off. We just don't know which quarter it is in. Terrebonne, South Terrebonne, down in Homa, 14-0. Terrebonne over South Terrebonne.
Oh,
Sulphur 23, Washington Marion 14. Booker T. Washington of New Orleans, Salmon 0. Last night it was Brother Martin winning their opener against, oh my goodness, I just had that score. There it is, 28-0 over a good Madison Prep team.
Yes.
Very solid win.
That's another little muscle flex, don't you think? But for Brother Martin, because that was no slouch team they beat.
Right, exactly. So it's a little statement made by Mark Bonice and his.
And let's give one here.
Team.
You were doing the analysis on a game yesterday, and that was at Nichols for their opener. They got the college season opened on a Thursday night, and tell us a little bit about that game, because that's a heck of a game. They didn't win it.
Right, I was down in Thibodeau last night to see Nichols open their season up at Guidry Stadium, and they opened up against the number 8 ranked team in the nation, Sacramento State, who lost last year in the quarterfinals to Incarnate Word in a game that set a record for the most points scored in FCS history, 66-63, right? So in comes Sacramento State to Thibodeau last night. Nichols right there with them. In the third quarter, they pull it to within 6, and then Sacramento State shifted into another gear and pulled away from them. But a couple things came out of that. Number one, Sacramento State, who just had a coaching change. Troy Taylor, who spent the last 3 years at Sacramento State with a tremendous winning record, moves on to Stanford. And Andy Thompson, the assistant coach, linebacker coach, defensive coordinator, moves into his first head coaching position. He steps in, and he has some consistency and continuity continue with the Hornets of Sacramento State, which is what he wanted to do. And then Tim Rebow last night saw some new things happen out of a new quarterback named Pat McQuaid, who is going to have a great career. He was out of Mississippi Gulf Coast Junior College. He will have a great career with the Colonels down at Thibodeau. He was solid last night after he shook off his first quarter druthers through a pick, and he was solid in the last 3 for the Colonels. So I think the Colonels have good things to look forward to as they continue on the number 2 toughest schedule in FCS, ranked on last year's winning percentages of the teams on the schedule, the upcoming schedule of the Colonels.
Yeah, people were visiting at the Manning Passing Academy in June with Timmy Rebo, and they said, "Did you make this schedule? Or just, are you taking enough people out to dinner, or who made this schedule? Take some people out to dinner, buddy."
Like next week, he travels to TCU, and then he comes home and he's got Tulane, and then not to mention a tough Southland Conference schedule with McNeese.
Southeastern
in there.
How about Frank Selfo at Southeastern? They picked to win the league,
and
they win the Southland Conference.
And they move, and they move on to Saturday night, should I say? They open up with Mississippi State and Starkville. No easy task.
Well, we're just about ready to go with the third quarter, which is brought to you tonight by the Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. The Lamarck Pre-Owned has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all makes and models. We even have great deals for under $12,000. Under $12,000 must be a reason. Hey, we got a pre-owned from Lamarck. Love it. Bring it over to Fast Lane. Get great service over there.
And free popcorn.
Free popcorn, and I get to listen to some great stories about Timmy Lamarck and Dennis Lamarck. It's, the things you learn. It's like going to the guru and saying, what happened in the old days at Chalmette? Then you just roll the recorder and let it go. 30-0 here at halftime. Chalmette has been in total control of this game. Most of the second quarter was played by the Hannan Hawks without their starting quarterback, who was injured. We'll see if he gets in. Brody Smith. They played with the backup quarterback for most of the second quarter, Braden Schultz. And Brady Smith just so talented, they can't afford to lose him. So we'll see if he comes in just a moment, because Chalmette had deferred. They will kick off to start this second half. The first half of this game was all Chalmette. Chalmette took that, Chalmette got the ball first, took that, Hannan had one and deferred. But, man, they had a 7-play, 67-yard drive, and then onside kick. The Hannan Hawks got it, went down and scored 14-0, and the rest, they just never looked back the rest of the way. So here's the kickoff to start the second half, and it goes to the 10-yard line, and we've got a little action by the Hannan Hawks. We've got a return coming by Hannan, and all the way out past the 40-yard line, as the Hawks were all over that one. Preston Richardson on the return for Hannan.
Preston Richardson took that and found a little bit of sunlight over there. Look at this. He's going to squirt right down the boundary. Nice blocking by the guys in white. Makes 3 guys miss right there, and there's the sunlight right down the boundary.
Hey, sometimes that's all you need to give your team just a little lift, especially on the first play of the second half, coming out of the halftime locker room. That's special. A 33-yard kickoff return out to the 43-yard line. And that's where Hannan will get it first. And it will still be the backup quarterback, Braden Schultz, in for Brody Smith. So you've got 2 ways to look at that. Brody might not be badly injured, and with a 30-0 score going into the second half of this one, you keep him, make sure he's okay for next week, and give your backup some reps. They'll try to go up the middle on first down, kaboom, nothing. They'll lose a few yards on that, as that Chalmette defense has just about proven that middle is not going to give up any yards at all. And that time, I believe that was Cortez Brown.
It was Cortez Brown, ran right into a wall of maroon jerseys right there. They picked up where they left off in the first half. Those guys up front are manhandling a really good Hannan offensive line.
Well, that'll back it up a yard to the 42. And once again, Brown right there takes the fake, and here's the quick toss. One hand on it, but can't pull it in. And that was a great attempt to pull that ball in that time by the Hannan Hawks, Hayden Alonzo. And it's got a catch you'd like to make, but he was in traffic, and it was a tough ball to pull in, just a little high on the throw.
Couldn't find the handle. Ball was up a little bit. Tough situation. He's got to try to make that catch. He's got to make it. I mean, not try. He's just got to make that thing. He's got to get something going for his offense.
Third down, 12. Braden Schultz looking. It's picked off at the 38. And an interception by Jahari Banks, you said you love him, and Banks is the one to pull it down.
Jahari Banks gets his second pick of the night.
Yeah,
second pick of the night. Here's a good look. Ball floating in the air by the young sophomore Braden Schultz. He just kind of floats it out there. And Jahari Banks undercuts the route, catches it at its highest point, and he comes down with his second pick of the night. Big on the stat books. Huge confidence builder for that young man. He's done a nice job in his man coverage tonight all over the place for the Owls.
So Chalmette at their own 38-yard line. Sends a man in motion to the left. And they'll go behind him to Russell. So Rayon Russell with the catch on first down, and he is very close to a first down, just about a yard off. Make it second down and a little bit more than one. All the way up to the 47-yard line.
Rayon Russell catches that ball and he turns on the Jets. He has some speed. Jason Tucker was not lying when he said he has some skill, and this might be the best skill he's had in 17 years here in Chalmette.
You know, no kidding. When I asked you before, if you're watching this, you're going, hey, this is a good Hannan team, and Chalmette's making it look real easy in this ball game. And though it's 5A against 4A, but this is one of the better teams in 4A. And there's the give to Lopez, who cuts into the line behind his left tackle and gets the first down right at midfield at the 50-yard line. First down, Chalmette.
All right, I want everybody to watch this on the replay if we get the opportunity. Watch number 50 and number 56, the two guards for Chalmette. They're pulling. The problem is they pull right into each other. And watch them after the play. They turn around and look at each other, have their hands out like, you're going the wrong way. No, you're going the wrong way. Again, Seinfeld episode.
First and 10 at midfield, and there's the toss and the catch, and another first down, and that's Laperouse on the catch, Jaden Laperouse. He's been targeted a lot tonight, and he's showing he's got good hands. Another first down for the Owls.
Catches that. Wheeler misses the tackle out here on the flank. He's got to make that play.
14-yard gain down to the 36-yard line of the Hawks. Chalmette doing everything right. They had an easy win over Douglas in their jamboree last week. Felt like they were ready for this. And there's a crowded backfield and a good spin around and a continued run by Lopez. Flag is thrown at the 38-yard line. And let's see if this one's coming back. Oh, face mask on Hannan.
Or they're going to tack another 15 on because of his personal foul. That'll go from where the penalty happened. Yeah, Chalmette's got a nice stable of running backs. Those guys run hard. They keep their legs moving. They've got a lot of things going on there that are huge positives. And each week they're going to have to keep getting better until that week comes where they're going to have to meet that good John Ehret football team. Yeah,
and Covington handling Ehret in the first half of that ball game today, and Covington, again, no slouch team themselves. And Cuvion hands it off. The counter into the line meets a stiff resistance by the Hawks. Nothing doing there. Actually, a loss of one back to the 21-yard line.
Nice job. Good stop in there by Hawk defensive lineman Ryan Monnier, senior. Number 73 did a nice job getting off a block, making a nice tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Good to see his name being called because he's playing some offense too tonight. And there's the give. And it's route. Left side. The route pushes down near the 15-yard line. Just a slow, methodical drive. You talk about a team, whether you're winning or losing, you run your offense, and I think we're doing and seeing Chalmette do just that.
Now, Chalmette's got to play like it's 0-0. They've got to do all the things that they have to do in order to be successful, and they've got to continue taking good reps.
Big hole on the right side, and Lopez is through it, and he's inside the 10-yard line down to the 9-yard line. First and goal for the Chalmette Owls.
The other thing they're doing is they're establishing a nice tempo with their offense, right? They're getting personnel on and off the field. They're getting great communication from the boundary to the field. The communication is getting communicated to everybody, every player on the field. All of this is a part of their tempo and getting into a nice rhythm. This is a part of playing good football, whether you're up 30-0 or you're down 30-0.
Big fullback Tony Sino in there, but he won't get the call as there is whistles on the play, and I believe we've got procedure Chalmette.
And I'm bragging about tempo and consistency. they get an illegal procedure, right? Well, I mean, those are things you got to clean up. Those are things that you're trying to get out and you're trying to iron out.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm sure Jason Tucker at halftime talked to his guys and said, guys, we got to play like it's 0-0. We still have to get better. We've got to take every rep and make sure every rep is the best that it can be.
So Cuvion at quarterback, and he will throw to the man in motion. It is caught. A nifty little move. Can't break the last tackle. Down to the 5-yard line. Jaden Williams with a sharp run by him, and had he broken one more tackle, he would have scored.
Yeah, well, Laperouse, we've seen this already tonight a couple times, a little tunnel screen. This time they throw it to the motion man, get the block on the edge, get the seal inside with the lineman out in front, and he is one tackle away from walking in the end zone.
Yeah. So Cuvion brings him to the line. Second and goal from the 5. Hand off again, right side. Lopez gets a few, but is stopped short of the end zone.
Brought down by the Hawks, number 12.
Seth Lowe does a nice job coming from his safety position to come up and make a nice play.
Seth Lowe on the stop for Hannan.
Yeah, he's a 5'10", 160-pound senior, one of those 28 seniors that the Hawks have on their football team that Cordy Borlon is relying on this season.
At the 3-yard line. On the center, and he dropped the snap. Cuvion picks it up, goes forward.
That's the sloppiness that drives coaches wild, right?
Now they still push through.
Yeah, they got
but
right.
Again, you got that big 6'2" frame on Cuvion that he can drop it and still pick it up, and there was enough of a push by the offensive line that, boom, he's able to get into the end zone and get the 3-yard touchdown.
Right, but the difference is in week 8, you drop that football, you might not get it back, right?
Well, that's the thing.
So that's the cleanup. That's why I keep trying to emphasize you're trying to make every rep, every snap the best that it can be.
Alfonso with the PAT, and it's good. 37-0. Chalmette leading the Hawks, and for the Owls, you were looking at a 9-play, 62-yard drive, pretty well executed with not many mistakes. They had the one illegal procedure penalty, and then the muff snap, which Cuvion, again with the big height, pushes through behind that offensive line. We're talking about 5 players on this offensive line. 5 seniors, 4 returning starters, and one who played a lot last year. From left to right, Kenyon Wilson, 306 pounds. Hunter Brickhouse, 206. Your center, Jeff Reagan, 242. Your right guard, Xander Davis, the lightweight, 176. And then your right tackle, Brendan Herbert, rather. It's Herbrt, Herbert, 325.
Well, yeah, there's some pretty big dudes, right? And not missing a lot of meals.
And again, we talked about the offensive line that you're not seeing the offensive line of the Hannan Hawks play the game they normally play. You've got these power lifters on the team. You've got good weight. You've got good experience. You've got 5 seniors across the front. You've got one guy out tonight for the Hannan Hawks, which made it a little different. So your normal starter at left guard is Will Galligan, and he is replaced tonight by Ryan Munier. But outside of that, this is a good line that's going to give a lot of people in 4A a lot of trouble. So Hannan plays in District 8 4A, playing up tonight in this game because of the old St. Bernard pre-Katrina rivalry. And if you missed it earlier, we was talking with the former principal of Archbishop Hannan, John Sirio, back in the days before Katrina. Deep kick. Way back, taken at the 1 yard line. And here comes the return. They got a pretty good return last time, but they're going to struggle to get too much on this one. Preston Richardson on the return for Hannan. And because of the difference in, for many years, the classifications of AAA and 5A, he didn't want to step up and play Chalmette, but later on as the...
Well, and also historically, they, even though it's been a rival, there's sometimes, the rivalry might not be the healthiest it could be at the time. Is that the right way to say it? It's like a Tulane LSU. Sometimes they decided not to play, and then they get back together and play, and sometimes things have to smooth out a little bit.
Yeah, and fumble. Who's got it? Chalmette got it?
Yes, Chalmette got the ball.
Chalmette did get the football. Wow. And one of the Hannan players slow to get up. So a first down fumble.
Well,
wow.
Getting back to what I was saying, and you know this, that sometimes your rivalries can sometimes turn out to be, well, I think right now we just are better not playing each other.
Yes.
And then things get a little bit better and smoother, and then, hey, let's get back together and play this rivalry, right? I mean, it's sometimes schools make decisions like that. It has always and will be a rivalry.
Well, I'll tell you what he was thinking at the time. And flag on the play at the snap of the ball, because at the time, Hannan and Chalmette had never played. They didn't play, but what he was thinking of is he saw some crazy things happening in the Holy Cross-Chalmette rivalry at the time. And he said, I'm not sure if we're going to get into this right now. Sooner or later, the teams got in the same district. They had to play, and believe it or not, they had no problems with the Chalmette-Hannan rivalry. It all went smoothly. And there were times when, even though they were in the same district, they played, and Hannan had the smaller roster. They were able to beat Chalmette. And Sirio told me, he says, one of the things I take a little pride in is in the 7 games played while I was principal, Hannan won the battle 4-3 in those 7 games. Toss into the end zone, and it's incomplete, overthrown. Good coverage that time by Brody Smith, who's playing defense.
Well, that's the way you stay in phase with the deep ball right there. Nice job by the defender, staying hip to hip, staying in phase. He didn't get his bubble burst. He broke and turned his hips around at the right time, didn't let the receiver get on top of him, and made a nice play at the end in the end zone.
I was checking. I said Brody Smith, and maybe I read that number wrong because Brody does play some defense, and I thought they might have got him into the game just to stay, but I don't think so. So
I think that was Keaton Wheeler.
Yeah, Keaton Wheeler. So check that, folks. And Brody Smith, the starting quarterback, last year defensive back, plays. Chalmette will try the left side this time on second down and not get very much on that side. Owls cruising in this game with 5:15, 5:14, 5:13 to play in the third quarter, 37-0. Right now they're just trying to make things go and facing now 3rd down and 9.
Well, and you're getting back to the rivalry stories and all of that. One of the greatest things about St. Bernard is everybody lives in a tight-knit community down here, and whether you were a Hannan student at the time, family, Chalmette student, family at the time, you lived in the community and you had stories to share with each other, and they're still sharing them today. That's what continues, as we said at the top of the game, what makes this such a great rivalry, and it's good to see these two teams playing together again.
Yeah, and it helps, again, and that was Route on the Run. Look, these two coaches are good friends. We've talked about this. They know each other. They're not going to let things get out of hand and get out of control. They were, again, both on your staff at Jesuit, Wade Kaiser, and they were both on the Hannan staff. They respect each other. That's why this rivalry continues to go. That's why this game continues to get played. And they're going to try to help each other as much as they can when they can. Here goes a field goal attempt, and that was a, I believe, 29-yard field goal. And that makes it good. So Chalmette goes ahead 40-0. And we've seen some pretty good kicking by Chalmette kicker Jaden Alfonso.
Yeah, he's got a nice leg. I'm impressed with this guy. He puts the ball down inside the 5 on his kickoffs, has nice spin on the ball. We saw it on the surprise onside, got the nice hop, which gave them the opportunity to recover that. He's kicked a couple nice field goals tonight. He's gotten the ball up quickly, and he's impressive.
Asking and talking about him with Coach Jason Tucker, I said, is there anything he needs to do? He thought about it for a moment. He said, well, maybe he's getting that ball inside the 10, sometimes inside the 5 on kickoffs. Maybe we could get him to put it in the end zone, but that's about all. He's been very consistent. He's a consistent field goal kicker. He's a sharp kid and brings a great attitude into it. So, yeah, that he could be something special too for us. And again, that's a great weapon to have. You know the importance of a good kicker.
Yep, they come in handy.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right word?
Saints are taking a chance on one, trading Will Lutz off to the Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos.
Well, whoever you talk to, that's a sore subject, right?
Ooh, I'll tell you who was a sore subject with was Payton's manager. Or agent, pardon me, his agent. Yeah, he didn't like it at all. He had some juicy words to say. Short kick this time. He'll allow the run back, and Hannan's got it past the 30, and we'll be up to the 31-yard line as we go into the 4-minute mark in the third quarter of play. It's been all Chalmette, 40-0. And as Wade and I have talked about, and we're going to try to keep you informed in some more stories and scores, but also let's just see if Hannan can get that offense running. Remember, the Hannan Hawks are operating since the early parts of the second quarter without their starting quarterback, Brody Smith. And backup quarterback, a sophomore, Braden Schultz, has done a pretty good job. And both he and Brody have been just off the mark with a lot of their passes, and it will be Braden Schultz probably going the rest of this way. One of the things we'll tell you about the guy on the sidelines and their starting quarterback, flag thrown penalty as Schultz is out of bounds. Brody Smith, talking with Corey Bordelon, he says, look, this kid is such a competitor, and Wade, you'll love this about him. Not that a kid wants to play hurt, but he had some upper body injuries and some lower body injuries, and it's like, Coach, I want to play. Coach, I can play. Coach, I'm healthy. And they had to sometimes pull him out of games to make sure he could be okay. I'm hoping that it's not a recurrence of one of those injuries and that they're just keeping him on the sideline with a 40-0 game, making sure he's healthy and he'll be ready for next week. Because, as you said earlier, this is one game.
You want your guys to have that type of attitude. You want your guys to play with that type of moxie, right? But sometimes you as a coach, you've got to make that decision for them. We had a 15-yard penalty that's being marked off here. I didn't see the preliminary indication by the white hat. 15 yards, personal foul, probably a late hit. Out of bounds, and it's going to give them 1st and 10 for the Hannan Hawks.
Yeah, 1st and 10, and you move that ball up to the 42-yard line, so not bad. So 42-yard line for the Hannan Hawks.
After the penalty,
and here we go.
1st and 10 at the 47-yard line.
Sorry, it's at 42. Make that the 47-yard line. And the Hawks will just try the middle. They're going to give that offensive line a chance to open some holes against a very good Chalmette defensive line. So don't be surprised that with a 40-0 score and 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter, you see some work being given to that offensive line we've talked about for the Hannan Hawks in this game.
You know, it's Thomas Tyner pounding it up inside on the inside zone game right there for a nice game.
And that takes it down to the 49-yard line of Chalmette. The Hawks need right now is just to keep some type of a good, long, sustained drive going. Let that offensive line do its work, especially for your backup quarterback, Schultz, who hands it off. And immediately caught in the backfield is Thomas Tyner, and he's dropped, fighting his way back to the line of scrimmage. I believe that's Kevin Jefferson who got him first.
Yeah, Kevin Jefferson comes up from his outside linebacker position to make a nice play and set the edge and make a nice hit on Thomas Tyner. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long.
Yeah, that long is going to be about 7. Well, they move it up a little bit. 6, they spot the ball at that 49-yard line. So no gain on that last play, and a good job by Tyner just to get back to the line of scrimmage. So here's your third down snap to Schultz, the backup quarterback, and his throw is off the mark. A little bit of head ahead of the intended receiver, Preston Richardson. But again, that was good coverage, so you kind of had to put that ball in front of Preston, and if he gets to it, fine.
Yeah, it's a little play action. It's not RPO. That was a throw to the number 2 receiver on a slant route all the way. Again, just can't get a connection on a pass.
That brings up fourth down for the Hawks at the 49-yard line. No punt team on the field.
At this stage of the game,
well,
why?
Yeah, that's
right. I mean, you just got to keep trying to get every rep you can.
Exactly. So let's see if they can pick up these 6 yards and get it. Schultz rolls out. He'll throw long, and there's man-on-man coverage, and it's intercepted. Third interception of the night for the Chalmette Owls near the 30-yard line, down at about the 27-yard line of the Chalmette Owls.
That was number 32, and that was Lee Everidge, 5'8", 143
He's a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Now, you think Everidge is not really excited getting a chance to play? Some of these second and third stringers getting some good PT, a little playing time in this ball game, and Etheridge comes up with the big interception, so the Owls have it 1st and 10, and they will be at their own 27-yard line. .154 to play in the third, going under center this time. We have a new quarterback.
And the new quarterback is number 81, Louis Schneider,
a sophomore. So Louis Schneider.
You usually don't see number 81 as a quarterback number.
That's why I had to double check. That's why you had to double check.
We're both writing his name down real quick right now with an 81 next to her and a quarterback, right? Real fast, trying to get that down to make sure we can give this young man his props.
Well, you know what? You put a new quarterback in the game, and what do? Let him go under center and hand the ball off and just get some plays under his belt, and that's good. We're going to see some new running backs and new people in the game. That's Marion White, 5'7" sophomore. So Jason Tucker giving some guys who practice hard during the week who might not get to see a lot of action in games. They're getting some early action in this one. Here in the third quarter, the final minute of the third quarter with the Owls cruising 40-0.
Well, get some of your gun guys in there and get them a chance to play. It's also like a little JV practice for them, JV game for them. It gets them better.
Yeah, this is all, the entire squad of here now is all backup players in the game, and that's just a good charge from everywhere by Trip Arsamont to get in and throw Chalmette for a loss back to the 15-yard line.
From the 15.
So Alfonso, look, you've got some tall guys and some big guys out there for Chalmette, and you look at little Jaden Alfonso at 5'7", 155, and he goes out there and he's like, yeah, when he's standing next to those big guys, he's a little bitty guy with a big, big foot, folks.
Well, how do you feel about the new kicker for the Saints, right?
Yeah, 5'7".
Correct.
There he is. And
he looks like he's a sophomore in high school. I mean, everybody's heard the story now around the New Orleans area about how he got stopped coming out of the game the other day. I think it was the first preseason game, and the security hassled him. Right? Yeah. Hey, what are you doing out here, kid? You can't be on the field.
Third quarter comes to an end, 40-0 Chalmette. Then the Owls will be punting right by their own end zone to the Hannan Hawks. Our third quarter was brought to you by Rhino Shield. Thank you, Rhino Shield. Again, Rhino Shield, if you're tired of painting year after year, go with Rhino. Rhino Shield resists chipping, cracking, flaking, or peeling, and is backed by a 25-year warranty. Get your free estimate. Visit rhinoshieldmidsouth.com or call 833-233-7181. And the fourth quarter is brought to you by Gibbs. Tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports in the fourth quarter, usually brought to you by Gibbs Construction, a leader in the construction industry in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast for more than 45 years, transforming dreams, visions, and plans into reality. Gibbs Construction. And man, they have some great athletes come out of that family. Many played at Tulane, and I'll tell you, the whole Gibby family, as we like to call them, great family, great business, great athletes.
Big baseball family.
Yes, that's where most of them were at Tulane, all baseball players. And Alfonso, pretty good kick. It's going to go out of bounds at about the 37-yard line, so a little short on that punt. But Hannan will have some good field position with 11:53 to play in this game, trailing 40-0 to the Owls of Chalmette.
Love to see the Owls get on the board here. I don't, it's tough to swallow a 0, right? So, they've got to do something, get something positive, get something on the board now.
And they're frustrated because, look, this is a better team for Hannan than they had last year. Last year, Chalmette won this game 47-22. And I think Hannan was coming in and really expecting a lot more, and they just never got rolling. And who knows, if starting quarterback Brody Smith doesn't get hurt, maybe they're on the board already. But Braden Schultz came in the second quarter. By that time, it was just about out of control anyway. So I think, and I'm looking for him on the sideline with the binoculars on. I'm not seeing him yet. I'll see if I can identify him to see if he's standing up and looking okay. Not that we would be able to tell if he is standing on the sideline. But you surely want to see that young man come back if at all possible. So at the 37-yard line, first down, and quarterback Schultz is hit and sacked right there at the 45-yard line. Bryce Warner is getting credited with that sack. He came in hard.
Yeah, nobody blocked him. I mean, if you're not going to get blocked, you're going to get a sack, and it's just a second in a decade here, right? And
one of those games, too, where you throw you too deep away and you just pull a roster up.
Yeah, well.
We're just playing off the roster now, folks, that's all. And that's good. Because it's good to see some of the players from both teams get some extra reps. Schultz with a quick release that time, and he hits his man and gets some positive yardage on the left side. Osama on the left side has enough to get back that lost yardage on the sack and make it third down and doable. Third down and, as they mark it, about 9. Or third, let's make it closer to 10.
It's good to see a catch and a completion, right?
Yeah.
Or a pass and a completion. They need that. They need that to give them some positive reinforcement.
Here's your third down play. Faked it, nowhere to go. Rush coming in. There was just a flood of 3 maroon jerseys pouring down on quarterback Braden Schultz, the sophomore, and Vincenzo Cavallo. I know I messed that name up that time. Vincenzo Carvalho. I think it is Carvalho. I think I got it right.
I tell you what, I bet you there's some food on that table at home. Man, I tell you what, I like that name. All right. He's 5'11", 221 pounds. He's a sophomore. My, oh, my. Yeah, I would have messed that up, too. But that...
everything with a little good olive oil. Huh?
There you go.
You better believe it.
Nobody touched him coming right up the middle. They didn't block him, and Vincenzo met the quarterback.
Ethan Bearden into punt. That back. They changed punters on us. So that was Felix Forget, and he is the punter. Felix Forget came in to punt. So Chalmette with the ball and 9:36 to play in this one. They are well in control. It's just a matter of, for the Owls, they have been emptying the bench, giving many people a chance to play. And for the Hannan Hawks, just try to get your offense out, make something happen without your starting quarterback, who was injured at the start of the second quarter.
You know, I think the die was cast early in this football game with the onside kick, right? The onside kick,
caught him off guard.
Caught them off guard, just kind of really let the air out of the balloon. They were not the same team, I think, emotionally after that had happened. Their defense got put in a bind. They went down 14-0, and it just kind of spiraled from there.
First and 10 of the 21-yard line. And look at this, Chalmette with a big gain. Chalmette with a big gain. Here they go. And for the Owls, running the football is Brandon Booker, another sophomore at 5'9".
Speed. Solid run. Look at him pop this. Great blocking up front. Ooh, I like the stiff arm right there. Very nice. Some skill. When you say they have the best skill in 17 years, I think Jason Tucker is absolutely correct.
Jordan Branch, a junior, checking in at running back, as is Colby Guerra. So you're seeing, again, Jason Tucker give a lot of different people chances to play. One of the Reveres, Vaugh Revere, along with his brother Bear Revere. Vaugh in there getting some action. And there's a dropped pass. Again, we've got the backup quarterback, Schneider, in the game. So you'll see some guys not getting an opportunity to play. You see these little mistakes happen sometimes. That's Lewis Schneider,
Just
a sophomore.
Right, couldn't find a handle on the handoff right there. Just put it on his hip. Didn't get it in the breadbasket, as you would say. Ball goes on the ground.
You've seen, look, as a coach, you've seen situations like this. You turn around, you pull your sophomores off the bench, they get in there. Have you seen both sides of it? Some guys go, yeah, I'm ready. Put me in, coach. And have you seen just the big eyes like, who, me?
Oh, yeah. You get the big eyes.
So what do you do with the who, me?
You let them get hit.
You get in there and let them feel it. Yeah, you're right. Just get in there and let them feel it. That's Jordan Branch running over the right side, and he's to the 50-yard line, got two of them back.
See, a lot of these guys are JV guys right now, right? And they haven't gotten their JV action. They are probably show teams for the varsity. They're doing a lot of show of the opposing teams' offense and defense and special teams against the number one offense and number one defense, right? So they haven't had a chance to have anything under the lights per se in any type of game action. They're going to get that probably, I would think Chalmette might have a JV game tomorrow morning, and then there's going to be a JV scheduled down the line for both teams, probably anywhere from 6 to 7 games. But when you get a chance to play your JV guys in something like this, that just gives them a little bit more seasoning.
Yeah, Corey Charleston made that last stop. We haven't had a chance to talk about him yet, and that's a shame. And here's a nice run around the right side, and that is, I think, Marion White, sophomore. Just everybody getting a chance to play here and touch the football. And what I like about what Jason Tucker is doing for Chalmette, he's spreading it around. He's getting guys in there and at least giving them a touch. They're not just going in there to play. If you're a skill position player, you're getting to run the football, or you're being targeted. It's pretty neat.
Well, and it like I said, it's giving them some season, and this is a lot of JV action, and this is also some JV action for the Hannan Hawks too. They're going to have a JV schedule to play as they move through their season also, which is going to give those young kids some, like I said, key word here, seasoning.
Yeah. Wanted to talk a little bit about the guy in on the last couple of tackles, Corey Charleston. His flags are thrown, messed up here. One of the defensive linemen for the Hannan Hawks, two-time All-Stater and two-time All-Parish. And that's just one of those guys that you know can help carry you into that second and get past that second round of the playoffs. You know, last year this team, even though they finished under 500, they qualified for the playoff. Nobody thought they'd win that first round. They did. They beat Kenner Discovery, the Hannan Hawks did, and then came back and got beat by John F. Kennedy in the second round. And with so many skill positions coming back, this game is not indicative, folks, of how good this Hannan Hawk team is expected to be this year with the position players that they have. And they've got some real good ones. So another Vaugh Revere, as we said, came in just a little bit while ago. So Vaugh Revere gets a target.
Well, a lot of guys are getting some different touches, and like you said, that's good. You know, it's you practice and you play this game to get a chance to play under the lights, and every time you give the kids a chance to do that when you're up, or even if you're behind, you give a chance to also see the other team is playing their kids. You get your kids in there to play too, and that's what both teams are doing here. And plus, there's a lot of mamas in the Chalmette
yeah.
stands right now that are, snapping pictures of their
absolutely
of their young man, and they're excited. They're going to go home and they're going to get a big pat on the back from Dad and everything like
and
that.
listen, there was no punt by Chalmette. They just tried for it, turned it over on downs. First down with 6 minutes, 17 seconds to play at the 38-yard line of the Hawks for Archbishop Hannan High School. And they've got it going the other way. Let's see if this final 6:17, if they can push something down and maybe get on the board. They're working with the backup quarterback, Schultz. He'll hand it off away, and that one goes to Evan Reagan. And Reagan with the left side run for a few.
Hannon's going to have to go home. They're going to have to regroup. And then Corey Bordelon and his staff, which he has some guys on there that have a lot of years of coaching, Dale Cimento, and a good football coach in Dale Cimento. And then, of course, Kenny Bourgeois Sr., who is one of the premier coaches to come out of the Jefferson Parish League, spent many years at John Ehret High School, and we had the opportunity to coach his son, who is the head football coach at Patrick Taylor, Kenny Bourgeois, who's doing a great job, had a big win last night over there at Patrick Taylor. And, these guys have had a lot of coaching experience. They're going to be able to bring these kids back. They're going to get back to work tomorrow morning on film, rehash the mistakes, make sure they get things right, and then they'll come out next week and try it again.
What you like to see, too, is as you just said, look at Evan Reagan with that second run. Just got, more than 10 yards, got the first down, good run by him. That's the kind of a play, even this late in the game, as you go under the 6-minute mark. That guess what? It gives you a little momentum going into next week. And again, I promise you, folks, if you've stayed with us and you've listened to us talk about both of these teams, when you heard us talk about this offensive line and some of the skill position players for the Archbishop Hannan Hawks, they've got an offensive line that is pretty strong and pretty powerful. And I think when they get back into 4A, right now they've stepped up in Chalmette playing 5A, these guys are going to have a little bit more success. They'll be seasoned. They'll come around and, take a look at the schedules right now, Wade.
Well, they're going to have a really good football team next week. E.D. White High School at home, right?
E.D. That's White, tough. Yeah,
tough. Then they got
E.D. White, one of
Catholic.
the better schools. Yeah.
Right. Then they get into league play down there. I believe North Lake Christian, St. Thomas Aquinas, Franklinton, Salmon, Laranger.
And that was Tyner Thomas, by the way, on the run.
Perennial
Tyner, I'm sorry.
Right, Perennial Power, Lakeshore, and then Pearl River, who's vastly improved. So their schedule is not easy by any means. Then there's Chalmette. After tonight, they've got Lakeshore, which is a good football team. And then the rivalry, we know what that rivalry is, with the Tigers from Holy Cross.
E.D. White, by the way, you were talking about the E.D. White game. Their preseason ranking is 7th.
Right.
By the Louisiana Sports Writers.
Good football team. Mm-hmm. And then Chalmette has Bogalusa, which they're going to have to travel to, and then they get into district play with East Jefferson.
But you know what's good for Chalmette before you follow in? The first 4 games. This is one of 4 you've got at home right here at Chalmette. So they don't even leave this stadium until, almost October.
They don't leave until
Bogalusa,
September 29th. And then they end their final 4 games with King Charter, and then there's the big one with John Ehret on October 19th, Bonneville, and then West Jeff.
And that John Ehret game has been one look, these guys are already thinking John Ehret. That's circled on the schedule, folks. I promise you. Ooh, nice delay, nice picking of the hole, and here we go. All the way, they might get on the board. He's going to make a run for it. That is a touchdown. Touchdown. 44-yard touchdown, Caden Roach.
Let's check that. I believe that was...
No, that's Evan Reagan again.
Right, yeah, Evan Reagan. My mistake on pointing that out to you.
Well, we just talked about Reagan. He had that big gain for the first down right before that. And how good is that to watch him perform? And
here's a good look at the replay. He's got some nice wheels, too. He pops that sweep, and he just takes off.
And look, you're not going up against the ones right now, but you're going up against some guys that can play. And these guys are as good as some of the teams you're going to play in the future. Flag on the play. They blow this one dead. Yeah, they got a flag way back there by the back of the end zone.
Participation called on the Hawks. That'll be a 5-yard penalty and retry the point.
Illegal participation, had 12 men on the field. Can't play with 12.
Oh, man. Those are the kind of penalties in game number 1 that, as you said, make a coach pull their hair out. Let me check your head. Not a lot up there, buddy.
Not for me. Hey, Corey Bordelon shaved his head for the start of the season. He doesn't have any hair right now. I was kidding with him about that before the game.
Hey, watch the leg on Ethan Bearden right here, number 28. Just watch his leg. Well, I don't think he showed a lot there, but he's got a real strong leg. Coach Corey Bordelon said they've nicknamed him Kicker Dude.
Kicker Dude.
Kicker Dude. They love what he can do. He's got one of the strongest legs of any kicker that he's coached at Hannan. Remember, this is his second stint, so he was there right before Katrina and then worked his way back there now. So he said they love him, and this is the first time. This will mean a lot to you, as, by the way, you've got 7 on the board with the extra point, so the score is 40-7. Chalmette with the lead, 5:23 to play. But he said this is the first year that he and Hannan has given him the budget to have a special teams coordinator. He had Michael Pinachero, and he says he's just a fun guy. Special teams is having fun. I said, any trick plays, anything we got to watch for? He says, look, with Pinachero there and a special teams anything's possible.
Well, there you
anything. Go. Now, they haven't had a chance to show it tonight,
right?
And they're not going to show anything. I don't think with 5:23 to go, or do you show something?
You don't show anything.
Nah, you don't show anything. I'm with you on that. Look, we're going to go back to what Chalmette showed. They took the opening kickoff. They went 67 yards in 7 plays, led 7-0. They line up. You think they're going to kick it deep to the Hannan Hawks. They onside kick. They get it back at the 49-yard line. And guess what, folks? Boom. 5 plays later, they score again. And it's 14-0, and after that, the Owls never look back.
Well, if you pooch kick, you can't kick it out of bounds. All right, and that's what happened right there. I mean, rule number 1, hey, let's pooch, great job. Let's don't kick it out of bounds. Okay, so what do? They kick it out of bounds. Kicker Dude kicks it out of bounds, and they're going to probably just take the ball at the 35-yard line.
But we got Kicker Dude on the air for him, so
there
that's
you go.
important.
There you go. I love it. I can hear Corey Bordelon right now calling him that. Hey, Kicker Dude.
Hey,
right?
Kicker Dude. Keep that ball in bounds.
and I'm kidding. Corey Bordelon he was outstanding offensive line coach for me for a number of years before he left and went to De La Salle, and he was a great joy to work with. Just like, as I said, Jason Tucker was. I didn't get to work long with Jason. Jason was with me a spring and right up through the summer before he left and took the job at Chalmette.
Well, the handoff for the Owls to Kenyon Green, another sophomore at 5'9", got hit hard in the backfield. Hello. Kaboom.
Well, that's another one of those skilled guys. Kenyon Green, 5'9", 153, sophomore, as you said. Ton of sophomores on the Chalmette team, right? I mean,
I'll tell you, Jason Tucker,
young kids.
Look, he's been here 17 years. This is his 17th year. He's been here 16, and he's built a program here. And look, they're good enough to be right there as 1-2 every year. The stumbling block has been West Monroe, and as you said earlier, you can take it all the way back to the Don Childs years of many years ago. I'll tell you, that West Monroe's been the stumbling block for a lot of people, but for Chalmette, they've been eliminated from the playoffs by West Monroe for the last 3 seasons, and they want to win this district. They want to beat Eric, win the district, then they want to get in those playoffs. And if they meet West Monroe again, the 4th time, they don't want to be the charm for West Monroe.
Chalmette just got a delay of game penalty. They're trying to run that clock all the way down before they run a play, and they just slipped up and they didn't get it off in the prescribed time. But you look at the Chalmette roster, Kenny. They've got the 28 seniors, of course, but they have a ton of sophomores, and a lot of that young skill is really, really good.
Ooh, a little fancy work by Schneider at quarterback to finally hand off to Jordan Branch, a junior, little 5'9" junior. But you look at what he's done, what Jason Tucker has done, and again, this is it. I mean, Chalmette is the school here. You had Chalmette, you had Archbishop Hannan, then you had Holy Cross in the lower ninth.
At St. Bernard High School.
And St. Bernard High School. That's right. So, and while the numbers in the parish haven't returned to what they were pre-Katrina, there's a lot of people that have moved back, and the parish is growing and getting stronger. And Chalmette, this keeps up, will continue, I think, to be a power in the parish. May get to the point where they have to add a second school one day. But
well, and that's a credit to the people and the resilience of St. Bernard Parish, right? And everybody down here loves where they live. They get knocked down, but they rebuild. And it's just a quality of life down here, and a group of people that are so tight and close-knit that they don't want to leave, and many of them are coming back post-Katrina. Oh, can't do that.
Yep, that's a mistake. And,
what is he?
Whoa, what did he do?
Was he trying to kick that football?
I think he was trying to kick it out of the end zone.
No. Just fall on the ball.
Or was he trying to kick it forward? And look, that's Ethan Couvion back in there. So your starting quarterback was back in there. I'm surprised. I'm thinking, okay, maybe Louis Schneider as a new quarterback, but I'm not sure. Take a look at that one again.
Yeah, let's take. I'm wondering what he was trying to do. It looked like he was trying to kick the ball or something.
Well,
that was weird.
That
was different, huh?
He's either going to try to can't kick it forward. The only thing you can do there is kick it out of bounds or kick it. Well, don't know. Chalmette just trying to run some clock out, run the timeout. We're down to under 3 minutes, 2:47, 2:46.
Oh, it's a good opportunity here for Hannan to get some points on the board. They run bootleg right there, and they get onto the edge and just got knocked out near the pylon. We've got a
be nice to get a second score if they could.
Looks like we've got a Chalmette player down over there on the far sideline.
Yeah, I can't tell who he is. I have not been able to find Brody Smith, the starting quarterback. Not to say he's not there, folks. I just haven't been able to see him on the far sideline. And I've looked and wish we could have gotten some kind of word, but we have not done so. And again, he was injured early, right at the end of the first quarter, early second quarter, and it's been tough to get anything going without him. And our guess, and I think our hope for Hannan, is that they're just keeping him out of a game that was already out of control to make sure he's healthy and ready for E.D. White next week. Because it's going to be a tough one.
That's a good football team.
E.D. White, a very good football team. Again, preseason by the LSWA Sports Writers Poll, preseason number 7. And the Hawks are going to have to be sharp for that. So Braden Schultz, backup quarterback, has played all this half and almost all of the second quarter. And he'd like to get some points on the board for Hannan. Schultz on a keeper. He's hit, bounces off of it. Nice bounce off the block. He's going to throw it into the end zone, and it's just in and out of the hands. Oh, my goodness, so close. Chase Romero had it.
Chase Romero, freshman, would have had a touchdown. You got to catch that, Chase Romero, the freshman. Right? Chase Romero, the freshman, would have gotten his name mentioned with a touchdown.
Oh, my goodness, he'd like to have that one back.
Yeah, he got the wrong statistic. Rather than the touchdown, he got the dropped pass statistic, right? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Wow. Now that'll bring up third down. There's still 2:20 and enough time for Hannan to get on the board one more time. 40. 28-7. Chalmette with the lead. Hawks trying to get in the double digits on the scoreboard. Let's see if they can. There's a flag down in the end zone. And there's that 12th man on the field again, I think.
Yep. Can't play with 12.
Yep, so one of them's got to come off.
Oops. Well, Coach.
Now, you see 36 coming up. We're not going to mention any names. It doesn't mean he was the 12th man on.
You said I could play.
Oh, he drops the snap, picks it up, falls into the end zone. Does he get it? Touchdown! Sometimes the ball's just got to bounce your way, and it did so right there for Brandon Schultz, the quarterback. He dropped it, picked it up, and just fell backwards into the end zone and gets the score.
Well, you'll take it.
Yep. Hey,
Right?
you know what?
You'll take it.
It wasn't pretty, but it gets you in double digits on the board, and pretty nice to get a couple of scores on the board in this ball game.
And the sophomore Brandon Schultz gets the statistic of a touchdown. That's way to go. I was trying to get the word statistic out.
Ethan Bearden to attempt the point after, and blocked.
That's another teachable moment that will get looked at film tomorrow. You're going to have to clean that up special teams wise.
Yeah. A lot to clean up. Look, first of all, you want your starting quarterback, Brody Smith, back for E.D. White. Then some things to clean up without question. You got to find out why and part of it, look, let's not take anything away from Chalmette. They got a good defensive front. But that offensive line, and I realize they're one man down with injury now, should have been able to open some holes.
Oh, they couldn't get anything going tonight. They couldn't get the passing game going,
right.
Drop passes, balls not thrown well.
Exactly.
They could never get their running back going. C.J. Brown just couldn't find that spark. And defensively, they were on the field too long, and they had all their momentum taken out when they had to go right back out there after the onside kick. And like I said, I think that was the turning point early in the first quarter. It was all downhill after that.
So a little quick down on the ground, picked up by the Owls, and they'll get it close to the 35-yard line. And we'll, I think, just try to run out these final 2:04 and take a 40-13 victory into next week. And again, for the Owls, as we talked about, the first four at home. And that means an awful lot.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to play at home, right?
And Lakeshore, and you know what? They got Lakeshore next week, but a big one for Chalmette coming up. But Holy Cross has still been able to take this a lot of games that Chalmette thought they could have won, and that's still a big rivalry. And can't wait to see what's going to happen. That'll be game number 3. So for the Chalmette Owls, it's Lakeshore here and then Holy Cross here at Chalmette in 2 weeks.
Look, Lakeshore is going to be a tall task for the Owls, right? Lakeshore's a very, very good football team. Brett Endest took over the Lakeshore program, I believe, 2 years ago. Brett Endest does a great job coaching.
Think it's good to have them right before Holy Cross?
Well, it's going to get you ready for Holy Cross, that's for darn sure.
Might catch them looking ahead, maybe?
Well, yeah, absolutely, but it's going to get you ready.
Backup quarterback Lewis Schneider, back in the game. We saw Couvillon come in briefly. And they're just letting the clock run down here.
Jason Tucker will not let his team overlook Lakeshore. I mean, he'll have them ready.
Have you ever worried about the fact that you say all the right things, but the players are still looking ahead because they know? You talk about Chalmette Holy Cross, it is still a big rivalry.
That's where you put the foot to the pedal as a coach.
Yep.
Right, you put the hammer down. You don't let them think of anything else.
Chalmette's not going to snap the ball, folks, so they're just taking the delay of games and letting it go. And Kenny, look, there's 43 as we get to the 40-second mark on the game clock. You got 9 seconds, 31 on the play clock. They got to let it go down or take one more snap, and that should be it.
You talk about, do you let your kids think about things like that? First of all, it's what your body language is of you and your staff. When your body language is right,
Yep.
they will be right. Okay?
Yep.
And then you put that hammer down and you make sure that you get their attention. So Jason Tucker will do that. His staff will do that. He's got an experienced staff, and they'll make sure that their heads are right for Lakeshore next week. Now, on the other side of the field with Corey Bordelong and his staff, those guys are experienced. They know exactly what to do. They're going to go back to work tomorrow morning. They got to iron out all of those mistakes tonight. Let's hope they're okay with Brody Smith, their quarterback.
That's the question.
We'll be able to
right
play
there. I'm
next
glad you
week.
brought that up.
And let's make sure we get ourselves back in tune to playing good football next week against E.D. White.
And next week, by the way, Crescent City Sports will have for you Newman. And Newman heading to reserve to take on Riverside. Always a great game. It's the Greenies and the Rebels next Friday night. Always live and always free here on Crescent City Sports. Wade Kaiser will be back with you then. Lenny Van Gilder will sit with him. And the exciting thing for both of those two is they get to call a Newman game where a Manning is not quarterbacking for the first time in many, many years.
I got to learn another name.
I think that's going to wrap it up from here. Not a lot to say about this one that we haven't already said. Final score is 40-13. Chalmette opens the season with a big victory over their rival Archbishop Hannan. Hannan get a little work to do before E.D. White. They'll take on E.D. White next week. And it's Lakeshore coming here to play Chalmette right here at Chalmette Stadium, Bobby Nuss Stadium, and in Chalmette. So that's going to wrap it up from here. Ken Berthelot having fun sitting in tonight for Lenny Van Gilder, for Matt Merritt, and Matt Beal. Matt Beal, our cameraman tonight. Matt Merritt producing for us. And for Wade Kaiser, want to thank everybody. And let's make this official. And just say thanks for joining us. Crescent City Sports has more high school football for you all next week. We talked about the game being reserve and in reserve, Newman and Riverside. And don't forget that the coverage on CCS begins just prior to the 7 o'clock kickoff. And don't forget that all night you can still go to CrescentCitySports.com. Great scoreboard action. And also you can listen to Ken Trahan's original scoreboard show on 106.1 and a plethora of stations around the state of Louisiana for scores and reports on each ball game. That's going to wrap it up from Bobby Nuss Stadium. Season opener for both teams, and Chalmette beats Archbishop Hannan 40-13. For Wade Kaiser, I'm Ken Berthelot. Thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody.